Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Reborn as a turtle and evolved from the Underworld. Chapter 61. Since Qin Yi's food was relatively mixed, it was similar to what he had eaten before. Therefore, during this evolution, the appearance remains unchanged from before. It's just that the size has grown from 55 meters to 60 meters. And the realm has also improved, from high-level 7th level to high-level 8th level. At the same time, he also gained a new skill, the Seal of the Earth. This skill sounds quite interesting. Qin Yi raised his eyebrows and immediately used the skill once. Then he was moved and his heart was shaken. After the Earth Divine Seal is cast, any part of his body that touches the ground will have the effect of being immovable as a rock. In other words, he can stick to the ground and cannot move no matter who pushes him. Unless the entire Earth is blown away, he will be attached to the Earth just like taking root. Not a bad skill. Qin Yi grinned. He is now in the developmental stage. No matter what skills he acquires, he is happy. Rumble. Turtle shell rolling. Qin Yi set off again and continued to roll around the east area, eating and eating and eating when he saw something delicious. Mountains, rivers, trees, mountains and ravines, all evil things cannot escape his huge mouth. The evolution value has once again experienced a surge. And as he ate up the east area, he wiped it clean. The reincarnation orders in his turtle shell also disappeared one by one. This shows that these tasks have been completed indirectly in the process of his feasting. Less than a month, Qin Yi walked out of the east area. Look back. The area to the east seemed to have been peeled off and turned into barren mountains. Although there are also some ordinary negative things surviving. But in general, the eastern area has become a poor mountainous area. Qin Yi raised his head melancholy and looked at the gloomy sky. After evolving to the 8th stage of high level, the next required evolution value is 330,000. At the same time, as the realm becomes stronger, the evolution value gained from devouring yin objects has also become much less. Therefore, this time he swallowed the entire east area without ushering in an evolution. The south side is still uneaten. If you eat the negative things in the south side, you should be able to evolve. Qin Yi shook his head, rolled the turtle shell forward, and walked away, heading straight to the south area. Not long after, he arrived at the southern area. The vegetation here is lush, the mountains are spread out, and there are active yin things in it. Just as he comes, the vegetation, mountains and shadows in this area are disappearing rapidly. After Qin Yi let go of his hands and feet, his devouring speed became even more terrifying. It only took less than a month. It swallowed up all the southern area, but there were still some living creatures left. For example, he didn't eat ordinary vegetation and low-level yin objects. But overall it's still similar to the east area. This has become a poor mountainous area. Boss, all the more than 600 reincarnation orders have disappeared. It only took you 2 months to complete more than 600 tasks. Xiaobai inside the turtle shell said happily. Well, I'm going to mutate again this time. Xiaobai, you go outside for some fun. A smile appeared on the corner of Qin Yi's mouth. This time, the southern area has been swallowed up. 330,000 evolution points, all accumulated. It can evolve again. At the same time, inside the Black Evil Yin God Gate. As Qin Yi continues to complete the mission of the reincarnation order. More than 600 tasks are completed one after another. The sect owner and many of her subordinates were also immersed in joy and could not extricate themselves. Qin Yi is doing tasks faster and faster this time. In just 2 months, Qin Yi completed all the tasks. The ranking should have improved, right? 4 people and 6 demons gathered in front of the main hall for a heated discussion, with smiles on their faces. I don't know what's going on recently. The reincarnation monument fragment no longer releases quests. They were very free during this period, so they didn't go out. The happiest thing every day is to ask the door owner about the ranking. It's so cool, lying in the Yinshan gate, doing nothing, just waiting for the ranking to improve and enjoying the benefits brought by the ranking. It shouldn't take long before a large amount of resources issued by the above will be sent to our Haisha Yin sect, right? The 4 people and 6 demons discussed it time and time again, and everyone was very happy. It was also at this time that the sect master walked out of the main hall. 4 people and 6 demons immediately surrounded him and asked the sect master about the ranking. However, the sect master, who is a beauty in black dress, is not as majestic as before, but her face is as pale as a corpse. She walked outside the main hall, ignored her subordinates' inquiries, raised her head and looked at the sky. There was deep confusion in his eyes. Half a moment later, she opened her red lips slightly and murmured, "I just received a notice from above that the Black Evil God sect has been disbanded. The ranking has improved again." Wait, what? Huh? What happened? Why was it disbanded? Isn't this all good? Our rankings are continuously improving. When the 4 people and 6 demons heard what the sect master said, they could no longer laugh. They were all confused and their eyes widened. We all neglected one thing. The door owner's eyes were filled with confusion. You tell me, what is the significance of the existence of the Black Evil God Gate? She spoke softly. Red Snake said, "Of course it is to perform tasks and deal with things that violate the order of the underworld." The sect master gradually became sad. You're right. Nowadays, things that violate the order of the underworld are completely gone, so the Haisha Yin Shen sect has no meaning in existence. Zhou Ming took a breath. How is that possible? But suddenly, he reacted, thought of something, and fear appeared in his eyes. The sect master smiled miserably. Qin Yi has eaten everything that can be eaten within the jurisdiction, so naturally there will be no more violations of the order of the underworld. She lowered her head, confused and sad and confused. She had no idea that Qin Yi could swallow up all the femininity and other resources within a 10 million mile radius. Without these negative things and resources, there will be no more violations of the order of the underworld. No wonder, I have been unable to receive tasks in the fragments of the reincarnation monument recently. Zhou Ming took 2 steps back, his eyes were stunned, and his whole body was numb. Now he understands. Da Qing means that Qin Yi has collected all the possessions and resources within their jurisdiction. This also leads to the fact that violations of the order of the underworld within their jurisdiction will basically never happen again. The rest of the people and monsters were confused. Before, they were still dreaming about how the ranking of Haisha Yin Shenmen would be improved. It's better now. The Black Evil God sect has been disbanded. What a fart fantasy. This is impossible. In such a large area, there will be things that violate the order of the underworld. How can we say disband? As the Yinshan division above so careless? Red Snake couldn't accept this fact, and his sadness turned into a river. Qin Yi has eaten up all the evil things in the jurisdiction from the source. I estimate that in the area under our jurisdiction, there will be no more violations of the order of the underworld within 10 years. Therefore, the Yin Shen division has decided to disband the Black Evil Yin Shen sect on the spot. The door owner laughed miserably and took a few steps back, feeling like the sky was about to fall. She never expected that Qin Yi's ability to cause harm was so terrifying. He directly devoured and disbanded her Black Evil Yin God sect. Then boss, will we be eliminated from the Palace of Reincarnation next? How did the above arrange for us? Zhou Ming said in shock. The other humans and demons were also very concerned about this matter and looked at the door owner one after another. Because we have completely solved the problem of things that violate the order of the underworld within our jurisdiction. So there were pennants distributed, and everyone had one. The door owner leaned against the wall of the main hall, smiling sadly. At this moment, in front of the main hall, the sect master took out the banner, and each person and demon had one, black and red. There are 2 lines of words left on it, conscientious and responsible, top Yin Shen. The 4 people and 6 demons looked at each other in confusion. The Haisha Yin Shenmen were all disbanded. Jobs are gone too. The resources posted above are gone. Just give me a banner and that's it. Zhou Ming, Red Snake and other Yin gods held silk flags in their hands, looking up to the sky and smiling miserably. At this moment, the sect master regretted it. She disliked Qin Yi at first. Later, seeing Qin Yi's amazing potential, he took him in. At that time, I was very grateful for my wise decision. Qin Yi was even defined as the dark horse of the Black Evil Yin God sect. But now it seems, this is not a dark horse, it is clearly a wild horse running wild. The other side, in a dry lake in the center of the southern area, Qin Yi is here. Qin Yi, who still didn't know that the Black Evil God sect had been disbanded, was immersed in the joy of evolution. This evolution is the same as before. The appearance remains unchanged. The body size increased from 60 meters to 65 meters. As expected, the realm was promoted from the high-level 8th level to the high-level 9th level. Similarly, a new skill was also acquired, continuous fluctuation. This new skill, Qin Yi's ambition stirred and he became interested. He immediately used the skill and was immediately moved. After the continuous wave is released, his whole body will release a shock wave every second. The coverage area of the shock wave is within a 10-meter range centered on the turtle shell. Qin Yi's eyes widened, feeling that this skill was so incredible. Because he has always had a weakness. When he retracted into his turtle shell and started rolling, most of his skills became unusable. For example, skills such as Shock Wave, Greedy Mouth, Extreme Yin War Cry, and White Beam Blast. He can only use the turtle shell's own gravity and impact to destroy surrounding enemies. But now, this new skill has made up for this weakness of his. Boom! Qin Yi shrank into the turtle shell, and the turtle shell started to roll. He immediately used a new skill, continuous fluctuation. The next moment, a strong shock wave surged from the turtle shell, shaking the earth from top to bottom. The range is within 10 meters centered on the turtle shell. Released once every second. Boom, boom, boom. Wherever the turtle shell rolls, the shock wave hits. Suddenly, the turtle shell rushed out of the dry lake and came to the shore. Boom, boom, boom. The shock wave continued to be released, directly pushing the ground out of the cracks. Super acceleration. Qin Yi activated his speed skills, and the turtle shell accelerated instantly. Within half a second, it skidded hundreds of times on the same spot, and then rushed out with a whoosh. His speed was so fast that in the blink of an eye he was more than 100,000 meters away, and the strong wind made a sonic boom. The 65-meter turtle shell carried a gravity of nearly tens of thousands of tons and rolled wantonly, smashing the mountains in front of it. And the continuous fluctuations are still releasing shock waves. Boom, boom, boom. Wherever he passed, large areas of cracks were left on the ground, caused by the shock wave. Similar to the skill, Shock Wave, but the shock wave requires me to stretch out my foot and stomp on the ground to be effective. But there is no need for continuous fluctuations. I can also release it in the turtle shell. Well, the power is not very powerful, but Qin Yi thought inside the turtle shell, constantly testing the power of this skill. At this time, he activated his violent talent. His strength has been improved in all aspects, including skills. Boom, boom, boom. The power of continuous fluctuations has been greatly increased. Every time a shock wave hit the ground, it created a huge crater several meters deep, within a range of 10 meters. Before using the violent talent, the shock wave could only cause cracks in the ground. After using the violent talent, the shock wave smashed a huge pit 2 to 3 meters deep into the ground. The power is visible to the naked eye. I don't know if my current strength can match the Yin Death Python. Qin Yi murmured that he had always had a knot in his mind, that is, he would feel uncomfortable unless he killed the Yin Death Python. There were so many bones in the Yin Death land, he couldn't even eat a bite, and he was almost killed by the Yin Death Python. Even the Ghost Spider Girl Commander. After some time, I will find connections and check the strength of the Yin Death Python. If this guy is too strong, I will call a bunch of ghosts and kill him together. If I can deal with it alone, you will be even worse off than the Yin Death Python. Qin Yi's eyes showed a thick cold light. He prefers to solve it alone, mainly because there are many advantages to take advantage of. Go alone and be able to swallow alone. When there was really no other way, he would call a group of people to beat the Yin Death Python. Qin Yi showed his strong attitude in one-on-one battles. Or forming a clique to beat one person alone, demonstrating the inability to win with force, etc., but I don't feel uncomfortable. As long as he can win, he dares to use any means. Just in order to swallow up the treasure in the underworld, he endured it and wanted to solve it alone. Boo-hoo-hoo. With the blessing of super acceleration, the turtle shell reaches an astonishing speed that is invisible to the naked eye. But the next moment, Qin Yi activated his skill, Earth Divine Seal. For an instant, the turtle shell, which was moving at an extremely fast speed, stood still for an instant, as if it was stuck to the ground and stopped moving. Rumble. The strong wind that was carried by him suddenly struck from behind him to the front, breaking a large mountain 100 meters away. The mission is completed, and within 10 million miles, all that can be eaten has been eaten. Qin Yi was thinking, feeling a little guilty. After all, he had already taken over the jurisdiction, and he didn't dare to go back. However, he thought of what the sect master had said before, let go and do whatever you want. Anyway, the sect owner allowed it, so it won't be a big deal if I go back. Thinking of this, Qin Yi turned around, cancelled the Earth Divine Seal, accelerated again, and headed straight for the Black Evil God Gate. The Black Evil Yin God Gate. Yin Shui's residence is a simple dark room. She has been in seclusion for several months and finally came out today. With a creak, the door was pushed open by her. The white-haired, delicate-looking girl was full of excitement and contentment at the moment. Breakthrough. I crossed that step, from the 9th level of high level to the 1st level of Linghai realm. Yin Shui smiled excitedly. This had a significant impact on her life. I'm at the bottom of the Haisha Yin Shen sect. I've worked hard for so many years, but I haven't been promoted. It's because the level is too low. Yin Shui clenched her pink fist tightly. His eyes are full of motivation. His eyes are full of expectations for his future life. The Palace of Reincarnation, such a behemoth. Who doesn't want to be attached and gain an unparalleled sense of security? Who doesn't want to get promoted and get better training resources? Before, I couldn't imagine that I could be promoted to a higher position. But now, my realm has been broken through. As long as I work a little harder, it is possible to continue to be promoted. Yin Shui smiled softly, suppressed her inner excitement, and walked towards the main hall. She wanted to tell the doorkeeper the good news. However, when she came to the main hall, she only received a response from the door owner. Haisha Yin Shenmin has been disbanded. A gust of wind blew up, blowing her hair. All just retreat, and come out. Why is the Haisha Yin sect disbanded? She opened her beautiful and lively eyes, filled with confusion and shock. Yes, Qin Yeki disbanded it. The door owner had already regained his composure, twitching the corners of his mouth and his face turned dark. Yin Shui opened her mouth wide and looked confused. How did Qin Yi do it? Just kill a department and dissolve it. Don't worry, the Yinshan division has arranged the position. The door owner sighed softly. She just couldn't believe that her department would one day be disbanded in this way. At the same time, he also regretted taking Qin Yi in. This product is good everywhere and can perform tasks quickly. He was so tormented that he completely destroyed the Haisha Yin gate without even realizing it. The 5 people and 6 demons all breathed a sigh of relief when they heard the sect master's words. Fortunately, positions have been arranged, and fortunately they can still stay in the reincarnation hall. Take the banner and go to the Yin Shen division to get the job assignment. Actually, you are considered lucky. With the banner, you can all get better positions than you have now. As for me, if nothing else happens, I will not stay at the Yinshan gate, but will go directly to the Yinshan division. The door owner said calmly, his words dispersing the sad atmosphere. But she still couldn't accept this fact in her heart. She stayed at the Yinshan gate, that is, the chicken head. After going to the Yin Shen division, he became Fengwei. Whether it is good or bad, we can only take one step at a time. It's all gone. The door owner waved his hand. She still couldn't figure it out. As a rare gold-level Yin god, an existence that transcends the spiritual sea realm. A strong man with the qualifications to travel between the Yin and Yang worlds and suppress the Yin world. One day, a tortoise, a high-level tortoise, would destroy her department. Master, what should Qin Yi do? Among the many sect masters, Yin Shui still cared about Qin Yi the most. After all, her breakthrough this time was related to her last outing with Qin Yi. That time, Qin Yi was very wild and pushed straight through the mission. Indirectly, her personality changed, which opened up her mood and gave her an opportunity for a breakthrough. Although Qin Yi destroyed the Haisha Yin sect, she still wanted to care about Qin Yi's whereabouts. Qin Yi, the sect master thought. In fact, she still values Qin Yi very much. After all, this guy performs tasks very efficiently. High enough to be able to single-handedly raise the ranking of the Black Evil Yin God sect. And his qualifications are monstrous. Even if she really gave up, she still couldn't bear it. Take it with you. The door owner suddenly came up with this bold idea, and then shook his head suddenly. When she thought about this guy's ability to cause harm, she felt terrified. If you keep it with you, sooner or later, something shocking will happen. I can't bear to drive him away. The door owner frowned. Suddenly, she thought of something, and a malicious look flashed across her eyes. The Black Evil Yin God sect used to be ranked very high, at the 10th place. Later, it became too popular and was targeted by peers, thus falling to the 20th place. It was at that time that Qin Yi was assigned to the Black Evil God sect under the manipulation of his colleagues. At that time, Qin Yi was big, knew nothing, and was a newcomer who knew nothing. It was also based on this that her peers assigned Qin Yi to her. The purpose is to cause trouble for her. But these colleagues never imagined that Qin Yi's potential was so great. HMPH. Since you want to trick me, I won't be merciful this time. The beauty in the black dress felt guilty, and she decided to give Qin Yi to the gang of colleagues who were targeting her. As long as Qin Yi is still in the reincarnation hall, it doesn't matter where he goes. When the sect master thought of this, a sinister smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Next, she dismissed her subordinates and asked them to go to the Yinshan division to receive their job status. She used her own methods to secretly release the news. For a time, news about Qin Yi spread among the 200 Yin Shenmen. Of course, she intentionally didn't say anything about Qin Yi's ability to eat. He only said that Qin Yi was extremely efficient in performing tasks and could single-handedly raise the ranking of a Yin Shen sect. Not long after the news spread, it caused a huge shock in the 200 Yin Shen sects. There is fierce competition among the Yin Shen sect for ranking. After all, the higher the ranking, the better resources and wider jurisdiction you can get. The only way to improve your ranking is to do tasks. The more tasks you complete, the higher your ranking will rise. This also creates Yinshen who can complete tasks quickly. No matter which Yin Shen gate you visit, they are extremely popular. When the sect leader spread the news about Qin Yi, all the Yinshen sects were shocked and envious. No wonder the ranking of Haisha Yin Shen sect has improved so quickly. It turns out there is a dark horse. With such a good subordinate, how could the Black Evil Girl be leaked? That makes sense. New news has come. The Black Evil Girl has been promoted and is going to the Yin Shen division, so the Black Evil Yin God sect has been disbanded. What? That violent woman got promoted. She deserves to die. I've been around for more than 100 years, but I can't even cross the threshold of the Yin Shen division. Smart people have already gone to find the Black Evil Girl. Suddenly, the sect masters of the major Yin Shen sects took the initiative to contact Haishanu, hoping to win Qin Yi into their sect. But they also know that this trip will definitely not be easy, and they must come up with some benefits. Therefore, during this period of time, all the sect masters who came to see the Black Evil Girl had prepared abundant resources and wanted to make deals with the Black Evil Girl. Haishanu, the master of the Haisha Yin God sect and a beauty in black dress, is still in the main hall of the Haisha Yin God sect. Around her were all the masters of the major Yin God sects. Faced with the solicitude of various sect masters, she politely refused. Because the target she was waiting for had not yet appeared. Fortunately, she didn't wait too long. A Shira with 3 heads and 6 arms and a black and red complexion walked out. This Shira is more than 3 meters tall, has a burly figure and is extremely oppressive. With a gloomy face, he stepped out of the crowd and came to the front of the Black Evil Girl. Unexpectedly, that fool turned out to be a dark horse. He came to your door and actually got you promoted. Shira spoke extremely unhappy. The corners of the Black Evil Girl's mouth curled up, she raised her chin slightly, and looked at Shira with contempt. Then he said in a cold and delicate but yin-yang manner, "Thank you very much. If it weren't for your strong recommendation, Qin Yi would not have come to my Haisha Yin sect." When Shira heard this, his face turned black with anger. Finally, he snorted coldly and said, "I don't want to be nagging you. Since you have been promoted, we are no longer peers. There is no competitive relationship. If there is any conflict between you and me, I will compensate you with resources. It's a tie, how about it?" The Black Evil Girl raised her eyebrows. She didn't expect that this guy was very capable of causing trouble. Instead of mentioning Qin Yi's matter, he apologized to her first. The Black Evil Girl nodded and said, "What else?" When Shira saw that Haishanu agreed, he felt relieved, and then said with a hint of excitement, I am using another part of my resources to exchange Qinyi with you. As soon as these words came out, all the sect leaders were furious and stepped forward one after another to fight for Qinyi. After the three-headed and six-armed Shira asked for resources, he traded Qinyi's request with the black evil girl. It immediately aroused the anger of the various gate masters. Three heads, do you understand that it's first come, first served? A strong man with a skin color like a corpse said angrily. You want to rob Qinyi, have you asked us? Another sect master shouted. Haisha, I will give you 2 gold-level yin god training resources in exchange for Qinyi. I'll pay 3 copies. Water flows to lower places and people go to higher places. Qinyi should come to my soul crossing gate. What level is your soul crossing yin sect at? You can't even get into the top 100 rankings. The sect masters were fighting fiercely, each one talking and becoming more and more angry, and there was a strong tendency to take action. Originally, when Shira was yelled at, a ball of fire arose in his heart and he wanted to take action. But when he saw the sect masters arguing, their attention was diverted from him and they began to scold each other. This made Shira's face darken, and he immediately ignored her and started talking to the black evil girl again. And his actions also caused the sect leaders to turn their attention to him. It just so happened that the sect master's anger had already been heated up. When they saw Shira taking the opportunity to talk to the black evil girl, they couldn't bear it. So, the sect leaders scolded Shira when they caught him, and they scolded him extremely dirty. What the hell, you bunch of fools, what do you mean by catching them all and scolding me? Shira clenched his fists with all 6 hands and cursed angrily. They are all here to rob Qinyi, so use your skills to rob him. How did it turn into him being scolded by hundreds of sect leaders alone? I don't know clearly, I thought he had done some evil thing that caused the anger of heaven and man. Hearing Shira's roar, the sect leaders cursed even more fiercely. Because some of the sect leaders may know that they cannot capture Qinyi. So with the mentality of just watching the excitement, he stood behind the sect leaders, scolding Shira in various ways, and deliberately set the pace. There are also some sect leaders who have a grudge against Shira, so they are really scolding. The remaining sect owners wanted to put an end to the matter. After all, they were all here to rob Qinyi. He was just scolding Shira because he just got angry and couldn't stop talking. But seeing everyone scolding them, they couldn't stop it even if they wanted to. And then I thought about it, just scold Shira. If Shira was scolded away, wouldn't there be one less competitor? As a result, the remaining sect leaders also joined in the war of words targeting Shira alone. Seeing all the sect leaders, the more they scolded them, the more filthy they became. Shira's eyes widened and he looked at these colleagues in disbelief. Aren't they all here to rob Qinyi? Why are these guys yelling at him as if they have lost their family members, and they are getting more and more fierce? The black evil girl was also dumbfounded. Why did this place inexplicably turn into a war of words? You are all gold-level yin gods. No matter who goes out, they are all strong. Are you trying to save face by cursing people here? What's the point of talking? It's like a one-on-one challenge. Shira's 3 heads spoke in unison angrily. Come, just come. Dozens of door owners took a step forward. The remaining sect leaders didn't want to start a real fight, so they didn't move. But some door owners at the back were not too big on the excitement and deliberately pushed them. Therefore, all the sect masters present took a step forward. At this moment, not to mention Shira, even the black evil girl was so frightened that she backed away. They are all gold-level yin gods. If a fight really breaks out, it will definitely cause chaos. Maybe even the top management of the Samsara Palace will be outraged. Everyone, if you have something to say, please say it. There is no need to use your hands or feet. Shira quickly changed his words, his face turned dark and he gritted his teeth. These fools are full of trouble. If a group of people wants to challenge him alone, he is not stupid and will not really confront them head-on. That's all, don't grab it, Qinyi, I'll give it to you, Shira. From the beginning, the black evil girl wanted to give Qinyi to Shira so that he could feel the power of the disaster. Seeing this situation, he was not going to show off and directly trade Qinyi to Shira. The black evil girl may be afraid that the atmosphere will become more tense. After saying this, she stretched out her hand to Shira. Shira's reaction was also very quick. He handed a storage ring to Haishanu, then he rubbed oil on the soles of his feet, got out of the window and ran away. The black evil girl got the storage ring and ran away. She got out of another window and was never seen again. Haisha, what are you doing? What about fair competition as promised? Haisha, leave it to me. And Shira, stop right here and hand Chinyi over. All the sect leaders were shocked. However, Haisha and Shira ran so fast that it was too late to stop them. They could only watch these two guys leave with anger. In the end, they could only swallow their unwillingness and disperse in twos and threes. Rumble. The turtle shell rolled on the ground at a very fast speed, turning into a residual line invisible to the naked eye, whizzing between heaven and earth. Chinyi was on his way to the Haisha Yin God Gate. The journey went smoothly, and no one stopped him. It didn't take long. He came back, arrive outside the palace complex where the Haisha Yin Gate is located. Chinyi stretched out his head, limbs, and tail, raised his head and looked inside, feeling guilty. I ate so much, I'm afraid. No, I can't say it's my fault. Yes, it was the door owner who asked me to do it boldly. Chinyi took a deep breath and walked in. He was mentally prepared for any eventuality. But when he entered, he saw an empty palace with no one in sight. Could it be that they are all out on missions? Chinyi walked to the main hall, only to find that the fragments of the reincarnation steel place there were also missing. Did you abandon me and run away? Changed places. Chinyi had a dark face and had a bad feeling in his heart. There is no change of location, it's just that the Haisha Yin Shenmin has been disbanded. At this time, a soft and helpless voice sounded behind Chinyi. Chinyi turned around and saw that it was Yin Shui, a frail-looking woman with white hair. This has been disbanded. Doesn't that mean our positions are gone? Who did this? Chinyi murmured, somewhat disbelieving, and then became furious. This is a position he finally got. If he lost this, wouldn't he have to leave the reincarnation hall again? Yin Shui saw that Chinyi was so angry that as long as she said who did it, she would immediately go out and fight with him. His face darkened, and then he shook his head again, with amusement in his eyes, and said with a smile, "You did it." "Me? What did I do?" Chinyi was stunned for a moment. Yin Shui had no choice but to tell Chinyi the reason why the Black Evil Yin God sect was disbanded. When Chinyi heard this, his face darkened. It was really him who did it. "It's nothing, we would like to thank you. Although you caused the dissolution of the Black Evil God sect, everyone has also benefited from you. Now in the eyes of the Yin Shen division, all members of the Black Evil Yin Shen sect are extremely outstanding top Yin gods. We only need to report to the Yin Shen division, and the Yin Shen division will arrange better positions for us." Yin Shui smiled slightly and looked at Chinyi gratefully. "I see." Chinyi breathed a sigh of relief, and the guilt in his heart disappeared. "You can also go to the Yin Shen division to find a good position. Here, the former sect leader asked me to leave it to you." Yin Shui waved her hand and took out a black and red banner from the storage ring. The two lines above, "Conscientious, top-notch Yinshen." She tossed the banner into Chinyi's turtle shell with a single flick. Members of the Black Evil Yin Shen sect each have a banner. If you go to the Yin Shen division with the banner, you can get a better position. Yin Shui smiled softly. Better position. Chinyi was muttering. He doesn't like other positions, he just likes to be a bronze-level Yin Shen. Bronze-level Yin Shen can eat everywhere, how cool that is. Or, you have another choice, go to Shira Yin Shen Gate. The sect master has made an agreement with the Shira Yin Shen sect, and you can take up the post if you go there. Yin Shui remembered the sect master's instructions and added another sentence. Shira Yin Shenmin is the department of Shira. She knows some inside information. The sect owner has a deal with Shira and wants Chinyi to go to Shira Yin Shen sect. But the sect owner didn't force it. If Chinyi didn't go, it wouldn't be a big deal. At most, the sect leader would be scolded by Shira. Can you still be a bronze-level Yin god? When Chinyi heard this, his eyes lit up. Do you really like being a bronze-level Yin god? Yin Shui said strangely when she saw Chinyi's excited expression. I'm used to being wild. Chinyi laughed dryly. Yin Shui smiled helplessly. Then he thought about it and said seriously, eat less and don't disband other people's departments. This is not a good thing for you. After saying that, She thought about it again and said with a smile, "Also, if you need help in the future, you can call me within my ability." "Thank you, Sister Yinzu." Qin Yi nodded. He didn't understand why Yin Shui was so kind to him, but he still thanked him gratefully. "I made a breakthrough because of you. I'm grateful to you. Besides, you're also fun and easy to get along with." Yin Shui smiled openly. Qin Yi twitched the corner of his mouth, suddenly thought of something, and said, "By the way, Sister Yinzu, can you help me collect some information about the Yin Death Land, one of the hundreds of wild underworlds?" The Yin Death Land. I have an impression that I am in the eastern region of the underworld. This is a small matter. I can help you. Yin Shui frowned slightly, thinking, and then said, "The underworld is divided into 4 major areas: southeast, southeast, northwest, and the Hall of Reincarnation in the middle. Because the Palace of Reincarnation is too powerful, strong men dare not approach it, leaving the surrounding area empty without any forces taking root. As a result, this area became a disorderly underworld. Outside of the disordered Yin soil, there are the 4 major domains. Bai Mingdi is all rooted in the 4 major domains. Beyond the 4 major domains, there is a wider area where extremely terrifying beasts live. Qin Yi has been in the underworld for so long, so he knows it." Next, they chatted for a while, and then Yin Shui gave him a sound transmission stone and left. Rumble. The tortoise shell rolled, and Qin Yi rolled towards what Yin Shui said was the office of Shira Yin Shen sect. All the offices of the Yin Shen sect are located in the palace complex on the edge of the reincarnation hall. It's not that far. Qin Yi found it within a short time. As soon as he arrived outside the palace complex, he was discovered by Shira, who had been waiting for a long time. There is no way. Qin Yi is too popular. Shira was afraid that Qin Yi would be intercepted halfway. In addition, he took advantage of the deal with the black evil girl before. Because there were too many sect leaders gathered together at that time, it was very noisy and there was quite a tendency to start a fight. Worried that something big would happen, Haisha Nu hurriedly completed the transaction with him and gave him Qin Yi's place. This made Shira feel like he was getting a bargain. "Hey, there was someone who bid higher than me, but Qin Yi was won by me. I'm just lucky." Shira grinned, and the more he thought about it, the more he felt that he had taken advantage of it. It is also based on this. As soon as he returned to Shira Yinshan Gate, he squatted at the door regardless of his appearance, just to wait for Qin Yi to come and pull him in immediately, to avoid being intercepted by other sect leaders. After Shira led Qin Yi into the Shira Yin God Gate, he breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, that Haisha Nu didn't trick him, and Qin Yi really came. "When I think about what I picked up, I really got it." Shira rubbed his hands excitedly, with chrysanthemum-like smiles blooming on his 3 faces. He took Qin Yi to the main hall, and then called his men. "We all know each other." Shira clasped his hands behind his back and said with high spirits and a red face. Qin Yi was speechless. Why is Shira, the sect leader, so excited? But he still collected his emotions and looked at his new colleagues. A black crow, a red butterfly, a stone bear, a bull-headed and horse body, cow horse. Qin Yi's eyes widened and he looked at the cow and horse a few more times. Then he looked at the other new colleagues. Fortunately, the other new colleagues are all human beings, 3 men and 2 women. "Qin Yi, my name is Ling Ya. I am a 1st-level spiritual sea realm and a silver-level yin god." The black crow waved its wings enthusiastically as a greeting. "My name is Shuidi. I am at the 2nd level of the spiritual sea realm, and I am a silver-level yin god." The blood butterfly was as big as an adult, flapping its wings, hanging low in the sky, and said with a smile, "I, Niu Ma, am a 1st-level spiritual sea realm and a silver-level yin shen." The bull and horse with the head of a bull and the body of a bull gave Qin Yi an honest smile. "What a bullshit." Qin Yi's eyes twitched. Next, Shi Shang and 3 other men and 2 women also introduced themselves. They are all bronze-level yin gods, high-level 9th level. Very enthusiastic about Qin Yi. After all, now, who doesn't know that Qin Yi is a hot potato? The efficiency in completing tasks is extremely high, and he can single-handedly raise the ranking of a Yin Shen sect. Any Yin Shen sect would like such subordinates very much. And they also knew that the reason why Qin Yi came to Shira Yin Shenmen was because Shira picked up the leak. This is obviously a huge advantage. For their subordinates, they feel proud and proud. Ahem, my name is Qin Yi, high level 9th level, bronze level Yin Shen. Qin Yi corrected his attitude and said seriously. It seems that no one knows about the fact that he has evolved so quickly, leading to his strength rising to the high level 9th level. None of the people or demons present showed any surprise. Qin Yi observed this and nodded with satisfaction, which saved him the trouble of making excuses. Shira on the side looked at how harmoniously his subordinates communicated with Qin Yi. The chrysanthemum smiles on the three faces never stopped. He nodded frequently, which is a good thing. Everyone gets along so well. Then when Qin Yi goes on a mission, he will definitely perform at a normal level. When I think of the ranking of the Black Evil God sect, it keeps rising, just because of Qin Yi. Shira has imagined that Qin Yi came to Shira's Yin God Gate. It's just that the Shira Yinshan sect, which is ranked 25th, is rising in ranking. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became, and he smiled and said, Qin Yi, I heard that you complete tasks very quickly. Do you have any special skills? His men, Crow Horse Dai, Shishong and those 5 people, also looked at Qin Yi expectantly. Qin Yi was silent for a moment, and then smiled. It's very edible, does it count as a unique skill? Shira was stunned for a moment, then smiled and said, it's a blessing to be able to eat. He already understood that Qin Yi was just looking for an excuse and did not want to reveal his unique skills. You can understand it if you think about it. Who doesn't want to hide some unique skills that others don't know? Otherwise, Qin Yi would not be so popular. Boss Shira, you are so good to me. At the Shira Yin God Gate, Qin Yi stood in the side hall next to the main hall, his face full of emotion. Just after he said hello to his new colleagues, he was taken to the main hall by the Shira sect master. It's the same as the Black Evil Yin God sect. Next to the wall outside the main hall of the Shira Yin God Gate, there is also a fragment of the reincarnation stele. Of course, this is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that the Shira sect master makes it convenient for him to accept the mission. His residence was specially placed in the side hall. The side hall was originally only a dozen meters high. In order for him to live comfortably, the leader of Shira sect demolished the side hall himself. Then a huge nearby hall that was 100 meters long, wide and high was moved over and placed in the original position of the side hall. When Shira heard this, he smiled heartily. It's a small thing, a small thing. Qin Yi sighed. Although the treatment given to him by Haisha Yin Shenman was also very good. But compared with the treatment given to him by Shira Yinshan sect, it was still much weaker. Thinking of this, Qin Yi's expression became firm. He turned his head, looked at Shira and said, Master, don't worry, I will definitely do more tasks, and I will definitely raise the ranking of our Shira Yin Shen sect to the top 10. No, I will push it to the first place. He already knew that the Shira Yin Shen sect was only ranked 25th. Its jurisdiction is only 8 million miles. The chrysanthemum smile on Shira's face became even brighter, and he laughed loudly. Thank you for your hard work. Qin Yi. Qin Yi didn't say anything, but turned around, took a step, and arrived at the main hall. He speaks with action. Raise your paw and touch the fragment of the reincarnation stele outside the main hall. In an instant, a large amount of information that violated the order of the underworld flooded into his mind. He intercepted 1,000 at once. Crash. 1,000 bronze-level reincarnation orders emerged from the reincarnation monument and then fell. There were so many that they piled up into a hill. When Shira saw this scene, his body was shocked. How did this guy intercept so many reincarnation orders? You know, as long as 10 of these tasks fail, the identity of the Yin God will be taken away by the reincarnation monument. But then he thought, maybe this is the reason why Qin Yi completed the task so quickly. Courageous, capable and efficient. Shira is more optimistic about Qin Yi. Wait for Qin Yi to stuff all the reincarnation orders into the turtle shell. Shira said seriously, be careful when going out on missions. Safety first. Mission first. Qin Yi said a word coldly and arrogantly, rolled his turtle shell, left the Shira Yin God sect, and headed straight for the Discord Yin Earth. So many tasks are enough for me to eat out for a while. The turtle shell rolled, and Qin Yi smiled excitedly. And wait for him to leave. Shira put away his smile, then followed Qin Yi in a flash. His purpose is simple, to see how Qinyi performs tasks efficiently. If you can dig out some usable skills, let other subordinates master them. That would be of great benefit to the Shira Yin Shen sect. Of course, Shira's actions were very careful and hidden. He followed him from a distance and had no intention of being exposed. Now Qinyi is the favorite of all the Yin God sects. If it is angered and then defects to other Yin Shenmen, it will be the end. As for taking action against Qinyi, the Palace of Reincarnation is not allowed to kill each other internally. Once you do something like this, the consequence would be to be sent directly to the Hell Division, one of the 3 divisions of the Reincarnation Hall, to be thrown into hell and tortured forever. It will be difficult to die at that time. After Qinyi left Shira Yin Shenmen, he didn't eat too much. The leader of the Shira sect was so kind to him, so he wanted to make some achievements first. As for eating, you can eat while doing tasks, there is no need to just focus on eating. Boss, go 100 miles to the left. The mission is to cover the Jian Junshui Lake. Inside his turtle shell, Xiaobai became his assistant. After she came into contact with the Reincarnation Order, she obtained the mission information and mission location in the Reincarnation Order. Therefore, Qinyi only needed to follow Xiaobai's guidance and rush to the mission location quickly. Rumble. The turtle shell turned to the left and headed straight for its destination. After a while, Qinyi arrived. Next, there is no need to use any formations to cover up, those methods are too cumbersome. He opened his mouth and started sucking on the Jian Junshui Lake. After a while, Jian Junshui Lake was completely swallowed by him. Boss, continue forward 300 miles. The mission is to kill the high-level 9th level white yin mantis that connects the 2 realms of yin and yang. After hearing Xiaobai's words, Qinyi set out again. Boss, 20 miles to the right, the mission is to destroy the rats that steal the incense of the underworld. Boss, 300 miles to the left, the mission. Boss, Qinyi's efficiency in doing tasks is extremely high and his speed is also fast. It takes almost a minute or 2 to complete a task. Of course, I won't let go of the delicious food I encounter on the road. And the scenes of Qinyi performing his mission. They were all seen by Shira, who was hiding in the dark. At the beginning, he saw Qinyi completing a task in 20 or 30 breaths. My heart was shocked. Secretly he smiled excitedly. Good guy, your efficiency in doing tasks is really high. I really found a treasure. Of course, he also saw that Qinyi's behavior in performing tasks was extremely rough. For example, that lake only needed to be covered, but Qinyi just swallowed it. But Shira didn't care. The jurisdiction covers 8 million miles, which is a wide area. It just swallowed up a lake. Everything is under my control. Shira shook his head indifferently and smiled coldly and arrogantly, showing the strong character of the sect leader. But then, as he continued to look, his brows gradually furrowed and he began to stop talking. Because Qinyi not only swallowed up the mission location while doing the mission, not even sparing the wild flowers and grass passing by, he opened his mouth to nibble on them. He even saw with his own eyes that Qinyi smashed a mountain with a turtle shell, and then opened his mouth to swallow it whole. Qinyi, almost everywhere he goes, will swallow up all the valuable possessions, mountains and rivers. By this time, although Shiro was still watching in the dark, he was already sweating profusely and his whole body was weak. Just thinking about Qinyi's speed in completing tasks. When I think about the ranking of the Shira Yin Shen sect, it will slowly rise and achieve a high ranking, and then the resources allocated to the Shira Yin Shen sect by the Yin Shen division will be extremely generous. He wiped his sweat and forced a smile. The jurisdiction covers 8 million miles. I just ate some. Small things are still under my control. After finishing speaking, Shira took a deep breath, turned around and left tremblingly. He didn't know why he left. I just simply don't want to stay here anymore. If you have to give me a reason. Well, yes, as a sect leader, it is too cheap to peek at your subordinates doing tasks. It's okay, my jurisdiction is 8 million miles away. Qinyi should have an innate magical power similar to that of the ancient evil creature Teodi. Being able to do such a thing is normal and I can understand it. Shira wiped his sweat again. Then, with confused logic and talking to himself like gibberish, he clutched his chest and left tremblingly. Shira left and returned. His destination was Shira Yin Shen Gate. But there was something wrong with his state. as if he was absent-minded and walking too far. It wasn't until a voice reached his ears that he came back to his senses. At this time, Shira paused, as if he thought of something. He hesitated and said, "We can't let Chinyi eat like this, otherwise." At this moment, another voice came, interrupting his thoughts. "Shira is in great shape now. He has recruited a capable subordinate, and his ranking will probably improve gradually. He has a promising future. If we talk to him today, he will ignore us." A man with 3 eyes, wearing a black robe, stood in front of Shira, with a sour look on his face. "Isn't it just that I took advantage of the Black Devil girl and snatched Chinyi away? How about dragging him like this? Just say a word to him and he will ignore us." A red-skinned yaksha stood next to the 3-eyed man, looking strange but obviously envious. Shira heard the words and looked over. He was also a gold-level yin god after all. Hearing such words would naturally not affect him. But the key is that these 2 guys are the sect leaders of other Yin Shen sects, and they are at the same level as him. But now, a strong man of the same level said such words to him that were looking for trouble but were extremely hurtful to him. Shira felt very sad. I saw him with his hands behind his back, a cold and arrogant smile, not saying anything, enjoying the sour words and envious eyes of the powerful men at the same level, and left quietly. Along the way, he met many sect masters of the same level. When these guys saw Shira, they also looked envious and made sarcastic remarks. Of course, there are also some who are very direct, saying, "Brother Shira, if you rise in the future, please let me." It directly made Shira feel so good that he couldn't breathe. They are all sect masters of the same level. When they meet each other, they either look down on each other or ignore each other. But now, these sect leaders are showing behaviors that are inconsistent with their status. Jealousy, sarcastic remarks, envy, compliments to him. How could he withstand this? Shira seemed to have forgotten the way back to the Yin God Gate, and began to scurry around the many Yin God Gates, just to enjoy the envious eyes of others. The longer he stayed here, the more door owners he met passing by. These sect masters also treated him with all kinds of envy, jealousy, sarcastic remarks and compliments. The corner of Shira's mouth curled up, and he was so happy that he forgot everything he did. During this process, a sect owner said, "Brother Shira, Chinyi, please give it to me. I'll pay double the price." Shira Langao shook his head. "If you don't want to sell it, Chinyi is not an item." Having said this, he began to use the attitude of a senior to reprimand a junior, and educated the sect leader who asked him, "You must remember that Chinyi is a Yin god and a member of the Yin god sect. If he were the Yin god under your sect, that's the same thing, do you understand?" The sect masters who had been educated by him had dark faces and were extremely speechless, but there was nothing they could do. Because they know very well that with Chinyi's Shira Yin Shen sect, the ranking will be promoted to the top 10 sooner or later. The top 10 resources are very rich, and they are of great benefit to the cultivation of gold-level Yin gods. In other words, Shira is about to rise. You can't provoke it. At least don't cause hatred and cause trouble for yourself. In Shira's eyes, after seeing these former colleagues being taught by him, they not only did not refute, but chose to obey. At that moment, the feeling of joy in his heart exploded. So next, any sect leader who comes over and wants to trade Chinyi from him, he would raise his voice and educate himself on what Yin Shen cannot trade. It is part of the Yin Shen sect. If one loses, both will suffer, and if one gains, both will be prosperous. In short, it comes as you put it in the cup. The sect leaders who were educated by him gritted their teeth and left with a dark face. But in Shira's eyes, he only saw their low eyebrows and submissive attitude. Shira just felt happy, so happy. It wasn't until his men, the 3 silver-level Yin gods of Crow Horse Dai, came to find him that he reluctantly returned to the Shira Yin god sect. As soon as Shira returned to the main hall of Shira Yin Shen Gate, he heard Ling Ya speak anxiously. "Master, something big happened." Shira has not yet calmed down from his previous exhilaration, and his attitude is very high. He was unhurried and said coldly and arrogantly, "Look at you, you are so worthless and in such a hurry, how shameless you are." Ling Ya was even more anxious, but he didn't dare to rush. Shira shook his head and said calmly, "What's the matter?" "It's Chinyi, he actually relies on swallowing to complete his mission." This guy's swallowing is so terrifying. I just went to see him for a while, and he swallowed all the valuable objects and resources within 100,000 miles. Quote. Lingya said eagerly. 100,000 miles away has become a barren mountain. It will be difficult to recover in at least 10 years. The blood butterfly on the side sighed softly. In fact, after Shira heard the word Qinyi, his body was shocked, and he finally remembered what Qinyi had done. A layer of cold sweat broke out on his back, but the previous exhilaration still hadn't passed. He said calmly on the surface, "It's only 100,000 miles. The jurisdiction of our Yin Shen sect is 8 million miles away." Urgent what? Spirit Crow and Blood Butterfly still want to say. Shira snorted coldly. They are all trivial matters, and everything is still under my control. You just go about your mission. When Lingya and Shui Dai heard this, they looked stunned for a moment, and then relaxed. Everything is still under my control. The meaning of this sentence is obvious. The sect leader has been paying attention to Qinyi, so it is definitely impossible for Qinyi to cause chaos. Thinking of this, Spirit Crow and Blood Butterfly breathed a sigh of relief. Then Lingya lowered his head and said, "The sect master is still wise, he can always plan things that we have never thought of." Shui Dai chuckled. "I am the one who is impatient. Since the sect master has taken control of all this, we, the subordinates, will not disturb you." Niu Ma, who had been silent all this time, smiled honestly. "The sect master is so awesome. I was so anxious that I couldn't even speak. I never thought that the sect master had already planned it." When Shira heard his subordinate's words, he straightened up unconsciously and nodded steadily and majestically. Then he waved his hand slowly. "Everyone, get out." Yes. As soon as Crow Horse Dai left the main hall, Shira Lu held 3 heads in his hands and said with a sad smile, "Asura, Shira, you really deserve to die." In fact, when he heard his subordinates say that Qinyi devoured all nutritious things within 100,000 miles, his heart couldn't stand it anymore. I shouldn't have rejected those sect masters before. It would be great to take the opportunity to sell Qinyi. Hey, I'm fine now. Even my subordinates think I have everything under control. The more Shira thought about it, the more torture he got. Until late at night, Shira stood up suddenly and thought of a good way to prevent the situation from getting worse and prevent other sect leaders from laughing, let alone being laughed at by his subordinates. Just when Shira was still thinking of a way, Qinyi, regardless of anything else, is still developing within the jurisdiction of 8 million miles. One task after another, he completed it quickly. Of course, you can't eat less. While doing tasks, you are also devouring heaven and earth. Hundreds of mountains stretch across the earth, majestic and vast. At this moment, a huge turtle shell, 65 meters in size, comparable to a hill, crashed into it with great speed. Only a shocking roar was heard, and mountains were smashed into pieces by turtle shells. Continuous fluctuations. Qinyi activates this skill, and the turtle shell releases shock waves from top to bottom. Boom, boom, boom. He rolled all the way and smashed the mountain. The continuous fluctuations shattered the rocks, grass and trees, and even the evil objects inside were not spared. "It's ready to eat." Qinyi turned around and looked at the mountains, rocks, vegetation and objects that had been broken into debris, then opened his mouth and activated his greedy mouth. A huge suction force is generated from the bloody mouth, sucking a large amount of residue into the mouth. The scene was shocking. The residue turned into several tornadoes, and all of them were poured into the giant turtle's mouth. Call out. After eating, Qinyi rolled his turtle shell again and continued to eat. Currently, I am at the 9th level of high level. The next evolution requires 360,000 evolution points. Qinyi sighed. He was rolling all the way, unstoppable. If the 9th level high-level penis rubbed his turtle shell, it would be broken into pieces. Although I can eat whatever I want here, as my level increases, the evolution value of the food I eat is getting lower and lower. Qinyi found a new target, and he used his strength to smash a large herd of giant cattle in the underworld. These giant bulls are all strong and tall as elephants, and their strength is at the middle level. After crushing it once, he opened his mouth to swallow it, but the more he swallowed, the sadder he became. A giant bull with a mid-level strength only gives him an evolution value of 0.001. Even the giant bull with intermediate level 9 strength only gives him an evolution value of 0.009. Qin Yi finished swallowing the giant herd of cattle and looked up at the mountains and rivers in the distance. Although each Yin Shen sect has a very wide jurisdiction. But to put it bluntly, these jurisdictions are basically in the disordered Yin earth, but the major Yin god sects divide them into various jurisdictions. Qin Yi pondered. The evolution value given was too little and he could only pursue quantity. In this way, he could only devour a wider range of territory. Use quantity to accumulate evolution points. But if this continues, he doesn't think it's a good thing. In doing so, he was like a monster that would destroy the world. If you don't restrain yourself, you will be killed sooner or later. Maybe it's time for me to head outside. Qin Yi raised his head, looked at the sky and the earth, and thought. Because the disordered Yin earth surrounds the palace of reincarnation, no strong person dares to approach it, and no force can take root here. This means that there are very few valuable Yin objects and resources in the disordered Yin soil. They are basically mid-level, and even less high-level. This also allows him to devour everything in a large area. But it's different when going to the Bai underworld outside the disordered Yin earth. In those places, middle-level and high-level people are gathered together, and there are many high-value resources in that land. If I eat any high-value treasure, it will be worth as much as if I devoured 100,000 miles of earth. Qin Yi's eyes flickered, but he felt a headache and didn't want to leave the reincarnation hall. How nice it is to have this big tree at your back. The strong people outside did not dare to touch him. Once you leave this big tree and go outside to surf, the risk of being killed is extremely high. In the end, Qin Yi chose to continue working. Let's talk about these things later. Finish the task first, and eat as much as you can by the way. Qin Yi did not ignore the failure of the Shira sect master. He will work hard for the rise of Shira Yinshan sect. Work hard, work hard. In the mountains and rivers, there are ghostly things moving around. Qin Yi's turtle shell rolled and continued to fluctuate, and then a large-scale shock wave came, shattering it all. Then he opened his huge mouth and started to devour it. I'm so dazzling, dazzling, dazzling. And as he devoured it, all the tasks that existed in this area were also indirectly completed by him. The 1,000 reincarnation orders he received also disappeared quickly one after another. This represents the completion of the task. At the same time, the sect masters of the major Yin god sects also noticed that the ranking of the Shira Yin god sect was rising rapidly. This ranking requires the sect owners to go to the Yinshan division to see it. Because Qin Yi joined the Shira Yinshan sect, recently, other Yinshan sects will pay attention to rankings intentionally or unintentionally. They discovered that Qin Yi had only joined the Shira Yin Shenmen for one day. Shira Yin Shenmen ranked 25th. The ranking started to rise. Almost every 2 or 3 hours, the ranking will rise. Already ranked 20th. Shira deserves to die. How can he deserve Qin Yi? It's already the 19th place. It must be because Qin Yi has done too many tasks. If this trend continues, it will be easy to win first place. Shira has become very arrogant recently. Yesterday he was walking around everywhere, making a lot of noise and making a lot of noise. The sect masters of the major Yin Shen sects were jealous and helpless. Especially Bai Ling Yin Shen sect, who was ranked 18th, was even more panicked when he saw that Shira Yin Shen sect was about to surpass them in ranking. The higher the ranking, the better resources they will get, and they are not willing to watch their rankings being squeezed down. And just when they were running around in a hurry, Shira came to the door. The first thing he said when he came to the door was, "Lease Qin Yi." The second sentence is, "I can rent Qin Yi to you and improve your ranking. Do you want to do it?" After hearing this, the master of the Bailingyan god sect opened his eyes wide and looked at Shira as if he were a little clever ghost. "You are a talent from the underworld. Shira, I did it." The leader of Bailing sect grinned from ear to ear. Not a moment, Shira left. At this moment, he stopped sweating and regained his control over everything. As he walked, his face was glowing, looking proud of the crowd. "Fortunately, I'm smart. I came up with this great idea." Shira's lips curled up. In fact, before Qin Yi came, there was also movement among subordinates among the major Yin Shen sects. As a low-level department, the door owner still has great power. In addition to not being able to fire, harm, or force subordinates, you can transfer between subordinates. After all, everyone relies on the reincarnation hall for food, and they all go there to get promotions and salary increases. Naturally, we cannot kill each other. What's more important is that the Hell Division, one of the 3 divisions of the reincarnation hall, is not a free man. Their achievements come from dragging criminals into hell for torture. Those fools have been waiting for their Yinshen sect to commit trouble. This also makes the masters of the Yinshen sect dare not harm, force or fire their subordinates. At best, it can only be transferred between subordinates. Of course, although transfers between subordinates were possible, it was banned after a short time. Simply because the more powerful the Yinshen sect is, the more outstanding subordinates it can tap into from other Yinshen sects. This resulted in the Yinshen sect being poached and becoming less efficient in performing its tasks. Naturally, this part of the Yinshen sect didn't want this to happen, so they clashed with the Yinshen sect who was poaching others. This is not an isolated case. Conflicts between various Yinshen sects because of this kind of thing happen from time to time. Until the conflict became more intense and larger in scale, and was about to alarm the senior officials of the Reincarnation Hall. Finally, someone stood up and took the various Yin God sects to discuss matters. They believe that if they continue to fight like this and alert the top management, their life will be even more difficult. So after some discussion, they all made rules and no transfer between subordinates was allowed. Unless it's an open competition. Just like Qin Yi's time, everyone was openly competing for it, but Shira picked it up and took it away. I am not poaching, nor am I letting my subordinates go around, but I am actively renting out Qin Yi. Qin Yi is essentially still in my Yinshen sect. No rules have been broken. Shira Gigi smiled and thought that he was such a unique talent that he had even found such a method. Rent Qin Yi out and let him go to the jurisdiction of other Yinshen sects, and I can get the rent money again. You can still make a lot of money. Get the best of both worlds. Shira clenched his fists and smiled coldly and arrogantly. Qin Yi's devouring ability is too terrifying. If I don't care about it, my jurisdiction will be wiped out sooner or later. It's okay, it's okay. If we rent him out, everything will be fine. Besides, I have both face and sagacity. The more Shira thought about it, the more he felt that this move was really brilliant. It was simply a stroke of God. All of this is under my control. Shira waved his hand, so heroic that he felt that a bright future was already waving to him. Next, he quickly returned to Shira Yin Shenmen, and then informed his men to bring Qin Yi over. Hearing this, the 3 silver-level Yin gods of Crow Horse Dai all breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that Lord Shira's sect finally started to stop Qin Yi. They immediately went to the jurisdiction area and brought Qin Yi back to Shira Yin Shenmen. Master, I haven't finished my task yet. Qin Yi was dissatisfied and said that he hadn't eaten enough and hadn't accumulated enough evolution points yet. Go to another place to eat and do the rest of the tasks later. Shira wiped his sweat. He just heard from his subordinates that during his trip, Qin Yi had eaten up an area close to 300,000 miles. How long has it been, not counting the day yesterday? I'm afraid that all the possessions and resources within the range of 3 to 4 million have been stolen by him. Fortunately, I controlled it in time. Thinking of this, Shira became more determined to rent Qin Yi out. Where to go? Qin Yi said in confusion. Don't worry, someone will come to you soon, just wait. Shira smiled faintly. After a while, Bai Ling, the master of the Yin Shen sect, came. Bai Ling has the head of a deer and the body of a tall man. His eyes light up when he sees Qin Yi. Let's go to my place to do the mission. Bai Ling coughed and smiled at Qin Yi. Okay. Qin Yi probably understood what happened, but he didn't resist. Instead, he felt happy. He was still worried before. After eating all the food within the jurisdiction of Shira Yin Shen sect, where should he go to eat? Now that he saw someone taking him to another place to eat, he was naturally happy. Next, Qin Yi went to Bai Ling Yin Shenmen. Then he received 1,000 bronze-level reincarnation orders at once, which made Bai Ling laugh excitedly. Qin Yi, keep working hard. Go do the mission. Don't have any scruples, you'd better perform at your best. Bai Ling smiled. Rented men, don't waste your time. Naturally, you can do the task as fast as you can. Sure. Qin Yi's eyes lit up and he licked his lips. Okay, let go and drive boldly, Bai Ling said seriously. Although he didn't know what method Qin Yi used to complete the task, was it important? It's not important at all. What's important is that the task can be completed quickly, and then the ranking improvement is important. Therefore, he didn't bother to ask, and Qin Yi might not be able to tell. What he has to do is encourage, encourage and encourage. Okay. Qin Yi took the reincarnation order contained in the turtle shell, turned around and went to Bai Ling's jurisdiction. Bai Ling Yinshenmen, ranked 18th, has jurisdiction over 12 million miles. He already knew this information when he came. With this in mind, Qin Yi no longer had any worries. You're right, Master Bai Ling, let me perform beyond my level and let my hands and feet go boldly. Qin Yi's confidence came back. He was worried before that if he continued to eat like this, something would happen sooner or later. They all started to have the idea of going further afield to work. But at this moment, the idea disappeared. Just because the leader of Bai Ling's sect allows him to let go and do bold things, it is best to perform beyond his level. Then he is still worried about the hammer. As soon as Qin Yi entered the Bai Lingyan gate, he had jurisdiction over 12 million miles. Don't even do any tasks, plan it in your mind first, and then eat 1 or 2 million miles first. After all, the larger the scope of eating, the higher the chance of completing the task indirectly. Qin Yi estimated that after eating these 2 million miles, he could complete more than 100 tasks. I'm so dazzling, dazzling, dazzling. He opened his huge mouth and began to devour the sky and the earth. This time, he was more ruthless. Nothing was left untouched. Regardless of ordinary, elementary, intermediate or high-level artifacts and resources. No matter the mountains, rivers or land, even if it is mud, he will show off. I live to eat. I eat, 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 eat. Qin Yi activated his violent talent, opened his mouth, and used his greedy mouth, and an extremely terrifying suction force appeared from his mouth. He could only see everything within 10,000 meters in front of him. They were all pulled by the suction force. Flowers, trees, gravel, lakes and rivers, fish and shrimps, and all kinds of negative things. They all turned into overwhelming tornadoes and entered his mouth one after another. At the same time, the bronze-level mission orders placed in his turtle shell also disappeared one by one. This means that the tasks he received from Bai Ling Yinshenmen were completed by him one after another. It's gone up. It's gone up. The sect leader of Bai Ling Yinshen sect, in front of a ranking list from the Yinshen division, watched Bai Ling Yinshen sect's ranking improve and shouted excitedly. He laughed out loud at the end. More. It's already 17th. It's it's 16th. Ha 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 ha. The leader of the Bai Ling sect couldn't help but laugh. The leader of Bai Ling sect is not the only one who has been paying attention to the list. There are many other sect leaders who are at the top of the list. They saw Bai Ling's ranking in the Yinshen sect suddenly improved, and they all looked at Bai Ling in shock and envy. Brother Bai Ling, what's going on with your Bai Ling Yin sect? How did the ranking improve so quickly? Tell me. When Bai Ling heard this, he was alert for a moment, and soon realized that he could easily attract attention by smiling like this. So he shut his mouth, turned around and left. HMPH. You guys all want to take advantage of me, right? I won't let you occupy it. Bai Ling smiled coldly and arrogantly, and turned back to Bai Ling Yinshenmen. Bai Ling returned to Bai Ling Yinshenmen. Just as he was about to sit down and drink a cup of tea, he saw his men running over in a panic. Why are you so impatient? Bai Ling was in a good mood and was putting on airs. When he saw his subordinates acting rudely, he scolded him. Master, something big happened. It's Qin Yi. With a pale face, his subordinate told the news that Qin Yi had swallowed everything within 2 million miles. After Bai Ling heard this, he was stunned for a moment and then fell silent. Finally, sweat began to form on my face and my hand holding the teacup was shaking. He vaguely understood why Shira wanted to rent out Qin Yi. He's still swallowing. If we don't stop him, our jurisdiction will be wiped out. The subordinate said anxiously. Don't worry, go and call Qin Yi over. Bai Ling trembled, trying his best to stabilize his mind. At this moment, he had already reacted. He understood why Qin Yi completed the task so quickly. If the mission area is completely swallowed up, how can you not do the mission quickly? He wiped his sweat, but his body shook even more. just because he thought of the words he encouraged Qinyi before. Let go and be bold. Best to perform at your best. When Bai Ling thought of these words, his head felt dizzy and he could hardly hold the teacup. I am allowing him to swallow it casually, Bai Ling said in a trembling voice. The more he spoke, the more frightened he became, and the more he thought about it, the more frightened he became. If the entire jurisdiction is eaten up, will the Balingyan Gate still exist? Etc. A white light flashed in Bai Ling's mind. He remembered everything. Gradually understood everything. Why did the Black Evil God sect disband? Most likely they were disbanded by Qin Yeki. This can't go on like this, Qinyi must be stopped. Bai Ling said tremblingly, feeling panicked in his heart. He didn't think he would be lucky enough to be promoted like Haishanu, even though the department was disbanded. There are only a few vacant seats in the Yinshen division. Everyone is staring at it, and it will definitely not be his turn. That is to say, once the Bai Ling Yinshenman is disbanded, everyone, including me, will have to get out of the Samsara Palace. Bai Ling was anxious and went out to stop Qinyi in person. Halfway through the walk, his face turned dark again. Yeah, I've already paid rent to Shira. That's a gold level Yinshen level resource. If I stop Qinyi now, wouldn't I be at a loss? Bai Ling looked crazy when he thought of this. Oh no, Shira took advantage of them all. I can't bear to swallow this. Bai Ling cursed and took out a sound transmission stone. After activating the sound transmission stone, he said, Fire Lotus Yin God Sect, do you want to improve your ranking? A surprised but somewhat excited voice came from the sound transmission stone. Of course I do. Brother Bai Ling, I just saw it. Why did your Yinshen sect's ranking improve so quickly? Teach me. It was the voice of the leader of the Fire Lotus sect. As such that, Bai Ling revealed his purpose. It is also very simple, that is, he wants to rent out Qinyi to the Fire Lotus Yin God sect. Yes, outsourcing is outsourcing. In this way, he can recover the rent he lost from Shira. No problem. Ha ha ha, Brother Bai Ling still thinks highly of me. He has such good resources. When the leader of the Fire Lotus sect heard that Bai Ling was going to rent Qinyi to him, he laughed happily. But soon, he began to wonder why Bai Ling was so willing to rent Qinyi to him. Recently, our practice has reached a critical moment and we are in urgent need of some resources. Bai Ling smiled and found an excuse. Oh, then I have to come over quickly and give you the resources you urgently need. The leader of the Fire Lotus sect smiled excitedly. No problem. Bai Ling grinned and felt relieved. And then, as their deal was completed, as soon as Qinyi finished eating everything within the 4 million range, he was taken back to the door by the leader of Bai Ling sect. Then, he was taken away by another sect master, the Fire Lotus sect master. No, these guys have really dirty hearts. They rented me here. Qinyi was speechless, but it didn't matter to him, as long as he had something to eat. So he followed the leader of the Fire Lotus sect directly without any resistance. A Fire Lotus Yin Gate. He was very straightforward and received 1,000 bronze level reincarnation orders. Then, amid the words of encouragement from the leader of the Fire Lotus sect, he walked away. Half an hour later, it's gone up. It's gone up. The leader of the Fire Lotus sect stood in front of the ranking list near the Yin Death division, watching the ranking of the Fire Lotus Yin sect improve, and laughed excitedly. A similar scene appeared. The surrounding sect masters came to him with envy and wanted to ask him some tips on how to quickly improve their rankings. How could the leader of the Fire Lotus sect say that he would leave happily? What happened next was exactly the same as what Bai Ling had encountered. Sect Master, Qinyi has swallowed up an area of 1 million within our jurisdiction. All of it has been swallowed up. Master, please think of a solution quickly. At this time, the leader of the Fire Lotus sect woke up from his excitement and became sweating profusely. Bai Ling, you tricked me. Go and stop Qinyi. Huolian cursed, and then he also took out a sound transmission stone. Hey, master of the three-eyed Yin Shen sect, I have a way to quickly improve your ranking. He felt that he could not lose money on his own, he had to earn back the rent he gave away from the other Yin Shen sect owners. No problem. Ha ha ha. Brother Huolian is still nice to me. The excited voice of the three-eyed sect master came from the sound transmission stone. Outsourcing again has begun. When Qinyi was taken to the three-eyed Yin God Gate, he immediately became numb. These guys are so dirty. They rented them here. What are they going to do? That's all. I still have 100,000 evolution points left, and I'll be able to evolve soon. It doesn't matter where you go, as long as you have something to eat. Qin shook his head and did not refuse. Instead, he received the mission of the three-eyed Yin God Gate and went out to eat again. He already understood that he might have to go to other Yin Shenmen to eat soon, so he ate very hard. Once you get to the area under the jurisdiction of the three-eyed Yin God sect, you won't waste any time and show off your food. Almost evolving. Eat more, Qin said excitedly. Rumble, mountains, rivers, grass, trees, gravel, and groups of ghostly things all turned into tornadoes and were devoured by him crazily. Just when he was showing off. The Palace of Reincarnation stands eternity in the Underworld and is the most powerful force. Some subtle changes are taking place. The Reincarnation Monument is located in the center of the Reincarnation Hall, 10,000 meters wide, and connects heaven and earth. It started to tremble slightly for a moment. Then wisps of gray light, ancient and vicissitudes of life, are overflowing from the Reincarnation Monument. But it did not completely leave the Reincarnation steel, but instead surged on the surface of the steel-like layers of mist. It seems that the mist wants to escape from the Reincarnation Monument, but is pulled by something, and in the end it can only float on the surface. Chapter 71. Rumble. Qin opened his bloody mouth and swallowed everything in front of him. Groups of rats, mountains full of monkeys, passing giant snakes. The evolution value once again ushered in a slow rise. There are only 50,000 evolution points left. After Qin finished eating, he smacked his lips and was about to go to the next place to eat. Someone came to him again. Qin, the master of the Three Eyes sect is looking for you. I know, it's coming. Qin knew without thinking that the owner of the Three Eyes sect must have rented him to the next Yinshen sect again. He went through the process and then went to the next Yinshen gate, which was called the Big Stone Yinshen Gate. When he came here, he didn't say anything. After receiving the task skillfully, he went straight to the jurisdiction area to feast. Zitsa, look at how professional Qin is. When he first came here, he took the initiative to do the task without me saying anything. The master of the giant stone gate was amazed. When Qin arrived at the jurisdiction of the Great Stone Yinshen sect, he started to show off. Within 10,000 meters, 100,000 meters, 1,000,000 meters, mountains, rivers, vegetation, and all kinds of negative things were all put into his mouth. He eats quickly and eats in a wide range of areas. For convenience, he used skills to assist him in eating. Shock wave, ground stab, extreme yin war cry, suction and other skills. As long as it can help him cook, he will use any skill. Because I have no scruples, I no longer avoid those elementary or ordinary vaginal objects. He ate extremely quickly, only half a day. He just ate everything within the 4 million range. And all the hundreds of tasks within this range were completed. 360,000 evolution points, full. Qin smiled excitedly. He felt that it was not easy and he could finally evolve. Next, he asked Xiaobai to leave him and let him go outside. Then he dug a hole, got into the ground, and started a new round of evolution. Open the evolution panel, and the evolution prompt pop-up box will appear. Do you want to start evolving? Qin chose yes. Evolving. At the same time, in the center of the Reincarnation Hall, the Reincarnation Monument, which is 10,000 meters wide and reaches straight to the sky, has experienced another change. The mist floating on the surface of the Reincarnation Monument wanted to escape from the Reincarnation Monument, but was pulled by something and could not leave. But now, for some unknown reason, the mist suddenly surged violently and continued to drift outward. After a while, the mist that wanted to drift away to the outside of the Reincarnation Monument finally broke away from the Reincarnation Monument. As soon as this part of the mist left the Reincarnation Monument, it turned into a gray thread and disappeared instantly. After several flashes, the gray thread appeared again. However, the gray thread has moved away from the Reincarnation Monument. Instead, he appeared on top of Qin. Suddenly, the gray thread flashed again and rushed underground. Finally, he quietly penetrated into Qin body. All I heard was a roar. The ground exploded. A giant turtle with a body height of 200 meters emerged from the ground. Before, it was only 65 meters tall. When it reappeared, its size had increased dramatically, reaching 200 meters. It's like a huge mountain, towering and extremely oppressive. What happened? Qin Yi was confused. Just evolved well. Suddenly, an unparalleled power surged out of his body. And this force directly pushed the cells, internal organs and bones of his body to undergo crazy transformation. The body size also increased to 200 meters in an instant. This is so strange. Qin Yi thought for a while and opened the evolution panel. Race: Yin-Yang Demon Turtle. Identity: Agent of Order in the Underworld. Realm: Third stage of Linghai Realm. Skills: Sprint, Bite, Super Perception, Grass Shield, Rolling, Shock Wave, Bone Spur, Greedy Mouth, Ground Spur, Super Acceleration, Forced Turn, Camouflage, Extreme Yin War Cry, White Beam Impact, Heavy Attack, Suction, Focus on Defense, Earth Seal, Continuous Fluctuation, and Re-Recommendation. Talents: Color Change, Shock, Rage, Order. Evolution Value: 0.400,000. This. Qin Yi looked at his data dumbfounded. Why does he have the identity of an agent of order in the underworld? Is it because I have done too many tasks, so the order of the underworld gave me the status of walking in the underworld? Qin Yi thought about this period of time. He did nothing but eat. He just ate too much and a lot of tasks were completed by him. Is this the reason? Forget it, no matter what the reason is, this is beneficial to me. Qin Yi grinned, and soon he was pleasantly surprised by his other data. The realm has jumped. This kind of good thing hasn't happened in a long time. Qin Yi said in shock. Before evolving, he was a high-level 9th Dan. After evolving, he directly skipped the first and second stages of the spiritual sea realm and came to the third stage of the spiritual sea realm. But the surprise is yet to come. I gained the fourth talent, Order. Qin Yi couldn't wait to use this talent again. The next moment, a simple and vast force of darkness poured into the whole body between heaven and earth. When the power of the underworld swept through his body, dense, overwhelming, and countless information that violated the order of the underworld poured into his brain. This information allowed him to learn about the information that was constantly happening in every corner of the underworld to communicate between the yin and yang realms. There is a group of rats thousands of miles away, using secret techniques to steal incense from the underworld. There are also great monks from the Yang realm who perform blood sacrifices to open passages to the underworld, hunt for treasures, or capture souls. Isn't this the ability of the fragments of the reincarnation monument? Qin Yi was really shocked. Suddenly, something occurred to him. He wanted to intercept this information, but he soon discovered that he could not do this. You can only perceive the occurrence of this information. Qin Yi thought. It seems that I can only obtain this information, but cannot intercept it and turn it into a reincarnation order. It seems that the power of order he has obtained is very little, and compared with the reincarnation monument, it is just a drop in the bucket. It's not bad. At least with this talent, I can sense the changes around the underworld all the time, which gives me a certain sense of security. Qin Yi grinned, then cancelled the talent, and the mysterious power mixed with a large amount of information disappeared. Not bad. Well, there is one more skill, recommended. After Qin Yi used it for a while, he knew the purpose of this skill. After performing Re-Push, when he encounters great resistance and is unable to move forward, he will gain double strength based on his own realm and push forward again for a period of time. The premise is that this skill can only be activated after being blocked. Qin Yi was standing in a pit, unable to move forward, so he used this skill. Then if I'm not blocked, I won't be able to use it. Qin Yi rolled forward, left the huge pit, and then performed it again on the flat ground. The skill Re-suggested did not respond. Qin Yi closed his eyes and thought about it. Then he suddenly opened his eyes and activated his skill, Seal of the Earth. In an instant, he was stuck to the ground and could no longer move. At this time, Qin Yi activated his skill, Re-Push. Boom! A huge momentum swayed from his body. Re-recommendation works. Qin Yi's eyes flashed, and he immediately cancelled the Earth Divine Seal. Boom! Without the restraints of the Earth Divine Seal, Qin Yi, who was under the effect of the heavy push, suddenly rushed forward 1,000 meters. The mountains within 1,000 meters looked like paper and could be easily smashed by him. So strong. Qin Yi laughed. It's a pity, there is just no change in appearance. Qin Yi gradually stopped smiling, stretched out his head, looked at his turtle shell and other parts, and shook his head. This evolution still looks like the abyss tortoise, but its name is different. The title given in the evolution panel is Yin-Yang Demon Turtle. It's not bad. Qin Yi didn't care what it looked like. The reason why he felt it was a pity was because the novelty was not satisfied. Next, let's eat. The next evolution will cost 400,000 evolution points, that's a lot. Qin Yi let out a breath, this was what troubled him. However, just when he was about to continue showing off his food, someone came to see him again. Brother Qin Yi, the master of Jushi sect is calling you. He said there is a better place where you can eat whatever you want. The men of Jushi sect master raised their heads and looked at Qin Yi in shock. There was only one thought in my mind. This thing has gotten really big and even more edible. When the master of Jushi sect saw Qin Yi's appearance, a cold sweat broke out on his back. When this guy went on a mission, he was only about 65 meters tall. After returning, his body size has reached more than 200 meters. He didn't care why Qin Yi became so big. He only cares that as this guy gets bigger, his appetite will inevitably increase. Fortunately, I stopped him in time, otherwise the area under my jurisdiction would not be enough for him, no matter how much. The Jushi sect master breathed a sigh of relief, and immediately looked at the next sect master who took over, the Qingdiao sect master. Brother Qingdiao, take him back. Your Qingdiao Yin Shen sect's ranking will definitely skyrocket. The master of the giant stone gate gave a thumbs up. Thanks, brother. You are so generous. By the way, you urgently need the resources for cultivation. I have already given them to you. I took Qin Yi out of this door. I will not be responsible for anything that goes wrong. The master of Qingdiao sect smiled. He didn't expect that the master of Jushi sect would rent Qin Yi to him because he lacked training resources. When he thought of this, he felt that the master of the Jushi sect was short-sighted. With only a few cultivation resources, Qin Yi was rented out. Snort, how good would it be to stay with you? After improving the ranking of Yin Shenman, you can get more rewards from it. I really don't know how to settle accounts. Sure, you can go ahead. The rental money has been settled between you and me. The master of the giant stone gate grinned. Delhi. The master of the Qingdiao sect laughed heartily, and took Qin Yi away from the huge stone Yin Shen gate and returned to the Qingdiao Yin Shen sect. This time, Qin Yi said nothing and went straight to the fragments of the reincarnation stele outside the main hall to receive the mission. The claws touched the fragments of the reincarnation tablet. A large amount of information that violates the order of the underworld emerged in his mind. This information is a little different from what I received before. Among the large amount of information, there are some more tasks that only silver-level Yinshin can receive. High-level Yinshin can only receive bronze-level tasks. The Yinshin in the Linghai realm can receive silver-level characters. Qin Yi thought and glanced at the information that was different from the past. The task of the silver-level Yin god is mainly to drive away the creatures from the Yang world that enter the underworld, and kill them when necessary. No wonder when I first performed the bronze-level mission, I never encountered any cultivators from the underworld who broke into the underworld in all major jurisdictions. It turns out that it was all silver-level Yin gods who drove or killed them. Qin Zie said that he also encountered creatures from the underworld later. After all, he is devouring on a large scale and will always encounter monks from the Yang world who sneak into the underworld. It's just that none of these guys conflicted with him. Instead, he was scared away when he saw his terrifying size and his behavior of devouring heaven and earth. Qin Yi shook his head and received all the bronze-level tasks. He received more than 1,000 assignments. As for the silver-level mission, he didn't receive it. Those monks who have the ability or the courage to break into the underworld are not good deeds. Doing this kind of task is time-consuming, laborious and dangerous. No need to do it. Qin Yi, I see that you are already in the spiritual sea realm, why don't you do silver-level tasks? One silver-level mission is comparable to 10 bronze-level missions. The master of the Qingdiao sect on the side was shocked and surprised to see Qin Yi receiving so many bronze-level tasks, but he was also confused about it. If you want to improve your ranking, the number of tasks is the most important. Qin Yi left the place without saying a word, went to the area under the jurisdiction of Qingdiao Yin Shenmen, and started to feast. That's true, Qin Yi, do more tasks, the faster the better. The master of the Qingdiao sect didn't think much about it. After some encouragement, he smiled and watched Qin Yi leave. One day later, the master of Qingdiao sect wiped his cold sweat and took out the sound transmission stone tremblingly. Brother Shui Ming, do you want to improve your ranking? The excited voice of the Shui Ming sect master came from the sound transmission stone. I think about it. I've been thinking about it for a long time. The leader of the Qingdiao sect smiled and said, okay, I'll tell you. Qin Yi's body grew bigger, his realm became higher, and he ate faster and faster. Therefore, he is changing hands more and more frequently. In just the next half-month. So he went to 120 Yin Shen gates. In other words, he was rented out 120 times. These Yin Shenmen are also full of bad intentions. I suffered a loss, but I kept it in my mouth and didn't spread it out. There is a mentality that if you suffer a loss, everyone will lose together. This day, the master of the Bilingian God sect has returned from the earthly world after completing a gold-level mission. Before he could take a breath, the sound transmission stone on his body vibrated. Who? Master Bai Ling asked calmly. Brother Bai Ling, I am the sect leader of the White Bone Tree Yin sect. I am looking for you to discuss a win-win situation. Inside the sound transmission stone, the master of the White Bone Tree lowered his voice with a mysterious tone. When Bai Ling heard this, he subconsciously thought of Qin Yi. He was the first sect owner to rent Qin Yi from Shira. And the master of the White Bone Tree came to find him. Is it about Qin Yi? Bai Ling asked. Hey, how do you know? The master of the White Bone Tree said in shock. Bai Ling's face changed slightly when he heard this. He remembered that he just rented Qin Yi to the leader of the Fire Lotus sect. Could it be that the leader of the Fire Lotus sect realized that something was wrong and rented Qin Yi to the next buyer? The more he thought about it, the more he felt it was possible. Now, it has been half a month since he rented Qin Yi out. Could it be that all the sect leaders of the Yinshan sect are involved? After Bai Ling had this idea, he was stunned. He could already imagine the scene where the owners of the major Yinshan sects rented Qin Yi, found out that they had been cheated, and then rented it out again. Wrong day. It's been half a month and there's been no news at all. Are these guys so insidious? After suffering a loss and being cheated, he was stunned and couldn't say anything, and then found another unlucky guy to take over Qin Yi. The hearts of these guys are so dirty. This is a posture to trick each other and bring all the Yin Shenmen to suffer together. Haha, Master Bai Ling, have you been tricked too? At this time, the White Bone Tree sect master did not continue to ask, and guessed the clue. Bai Ling, an old guy, had probably taken over Qin Yi before and had also been tricked. You can find another one. Bai Ling coughed. Okay. The master of the White Bone Tree tacitly agreed not to say anything more. After cutting off the sound transmission, he began to silently look for another unlucky guy who had never taken over Qin Yi. And now, the Yin Shenmen who had been cheated could no longer know who rented Qin Yi out for the second time. Except Shira. Shira must be the first to rent Qin Yi out. But that's not the point. The major Yin Shen sects have been deceived, and it has become an established fact that they will suffer losses. Based on this, there is no point in finding trouble with Shira. It's better to drag a few more Yinshenmen into the trap and everyone suffers together. As long as everyone's jurisdiction has been swallowed up by Qin Yi. This means that the area under the jurisdiction of each Yin Shen sect has not decreased. After all, if part of the jurisdiction is swallowed up, the workload will be reduced. When the amount of tasks is small, it will be more difficult to improve the ranking. For any Yin Shenmen, it is something they don't want to see. So here we are. Who rents out Qin Yi first is no longer the key. The key is that the most important thing is that everyone gets into the trap together. As long as part of the jurisdiction of each Yin Shen sect is swallowed up, it means that the jurisdiction of each Yin Shen sect has not been swallowed up. When you slow down, I speed up. Same reason. So, next, the trapped Yinshenmen remain silent, and the Yinshen gate that has just been pulled into the pit will find another Yinshen gate that has not fallen into the pit. Even if you happen to find a Yin Shenman that has been tricked, it will be fine. Just find another one. Because the sect masters of each Yin Shen sect have the mentality of pulling everyone into trouble. In just 1 month, a total of 200 Yin Shenmen took over Qinyi. All the Yin Shenmen have been tricked. It's a great meal. Qinyi grinned. Those are 200 Yin Shen gates. Their jurisdiction covers all the disordered Yin earth outside the reincarnation hall. Although every time he went to a Yin Shen gate, he only ate a small part of it. But each of the 200 Yin Shenmen eats a part. Just do a rough calculation. He almost ate all the jurisdiction of about 5 Yin Shenmen. The 400,000 evolution points have been accumulated. You can evolve again. Qinyi was very excited and was about to find a place to evolve impatiently. A sudden major event swept him and all the Yin Shenmen. The Hall of Reincarnation, standing in the center of the Underworld, is the most powerful force in the Underworld. Now, an event of big earthquake magnitude has occurred. The palace master who was sitting deep in the reincarnation palace appeared. The master of the palace has a majestic figure and overwhelming power. As soon as Hajime appeared, he shook the underworld. He took one step at a time, standing high in the sky, surrounded by chaotic light, hazy. Waves of indelible and immortal ancient aura surged through him, and the world around him was distorted. All the ghosts in the reincarnation hall, no matter strong or weak, raised their heads and looked at the master of the hall in shock. Who is he? Master of the palace. Master of the palace of reincarnation. Our reincarnation hall actually has a master. You are new here and don't understand. The palace master has not appeared for an era. I still listen to what those old monsters said. Hiss. An era. It's so scary. What is the palace master going to do when he shows up? Look, someone flies up from the Samsara palace and approaches the palace master. That person seems to be the head of the Yinshan division. All the demons in the reincarnation hall looked at the scene above in shock. I saw a man shrouded in black light, the head of the Yinshan division, approaching the hall master tremblingly. I don't know what they said, but the head of the Yinshan division suddenly knelt down and his whole body was shaking even more violently. Sir, what's going on? The palace complex on the edge of the reincarnation hall houses the offices of the major Yin god sects. Shiro was among them, looking up at this scene with fear on his face. Those were the bosses of his bosses at countless levels. What on earth had they done to be so frightened like this? But soon, Shiro understood what was going on. The palace master gradually disappeared in the air until there was no sound. The head of the Yinshan division stood up and looked at the palaces on the edge of the reincarnation hall with a gloomy expression. Then flew over. Shiro was shocked when he saw this. This is clearly a posture to cause trouble for them. At this moment, Shiro's 3 heads were running rapidly, thinking quickly about whether he had committed something recently. Finally, when he looked back, it seemed that he hadn't. He had always been calm. But soon, he no longer thought so, because the head of the Yinshan department was flying towards him with a dark face. Shiro choked, his eyes widened, and he thought more carefully about what he had done. I didn't do anything wrong, that is, I recently took in Qinyi, but rented it out. Hiss. 2 hours later, the Yinshan division announced a major piece of information. All the 200 Yin Shen sects under the Yin Shen division were disbanded and reorganized. This incident shocked everyone in the reincarnation hall and caused heated discussions among many of the negative things in the reincarnation hall. What happened? You want to disband all the Yin Shen sect? There's going to be a big problem. Without the Yin Shen gate, the disordered Yin earth will be in chaos again. It's just disbandment and reorganization. The Yinshan sect is still there and there can be no chaos. The latest news, from what I heard from above, seems to be that the 200 Yin Shenmen did something earth-shattering and almost destroyed our Samsara palace. What's so outrageous? I don't know. It seems that some of the power of our reincarnation palace was taken away because of these 200 Yin Shen gates. Just when there was a lot of discussion about the evil things in the reincarnation hall. A corner of the disorderly Yin earth far away from the palace of reincarnation. The palace master stood here, surrounded by chaos, distorting the world. In front of the palace master was a giant turtle. Due to the distortion of the heaven and earth, the appearance of the giant turtle also became distorted and weird. Qinyi. At this time, the palace master spoke indifferently. What's the matter? Qinyi swallowed his saliva. Not long ago, he was transferred here inexplicably. Most likely it was the person in front of me, the palace master, who was being discussed by others. Fortunately, the palace master didn't seem to hurt him. Although his body was distorted by the heaven and earth, he didn't feel anything strange. Let's go and leave the reincarnation hall. The palace master was shrouded in chaos and couldn't see clearly, but his tone obviously slowed down. Good. Qin Yi swallowed again. In this underworld, from now on, the palace of reincarnation will treat you as if you don't exist and will not care about you. And you are just like the underworld. There has never been a force like the palace of reincarnation. It is best not to interfere with anything in the palace of reincarnation, let alone harm any underworld creatures in the palace of reincarnation. Of course, the palace of reincarnation will not hurt you. The palace master said calmly. Good. Qin Yi said again, you are awesome, whatever you say is true. The palace master was silent for a moment and then said, if you don't ask, why do I say this? Palace master, please speak. Qin Yi said seriously. You gain a small part of the order of the underworld. The palace master, shrouded in chaos, said calmly. This junior knows, but I didn't take the initiative to take it. Qin Yi knew that he had the power of order in the underworld. You didn't take the initiative to take it, but the reincarnation monument chose you. The palace master said again. Why did you choose me? Qin Yi was puzzled, but he also guessed from the words that the order of the underworld probably originated from the reincarnation monument. The order of the underworld in him was obtained from the reincarnation monument. You have done too many tasks recently, right? The palace master asked. It has nothing to do with this. There are many strong men in the underworld who can do the task. Qin Yi became even more confused. The reincarnation monument values your potential, not your efficiency in completing tasks. The palace master seemed to be very patient and did not regard Qin Yi as a real ant. Without waiting for Qin Yi to speak, the palace master raised his head and looked towards the sky, as if he wanted to see through this world. Because of your potential, the reincarnation monument gives you a part of the order of the underworld. The reincarnation monument will not take back this part of the order of the underworld, and the reincarnation hall has no ability to take care of it. The palace master slowly lowered his head and looked at Qin Yi. Then he said, but, it is enough for your lifetime. Thank you, palace master, and thank you for the reincarnation monument. Although Qin Yi still had many doubts, in front of such existence, he could only say thank you. You don't have to be so cautious, and you don't have to be afraid of me. The palace of reincarnation and the steel of reincarnation are originally one body, and are the essence of the order of the underworld. You have a small part of the order of the underworld. The palace master paused for a moment when he said this. Qin Yi felt inexplicably that the palace master was helpless when he said this. Really? The palace master sighed softly. The order of the underworld does not tolerate internal fighting. The order of the underworld does not tolerate internal fighting. Qin Yi's eyes widened, and his anxious heart gradually calmed down, and then suddenly became excited. How can he not understand this? The palace of reincarnation can no longer threaten him. Etc. Since he owns a part of the order of the underworld, why did the palace master drive him away? Palace master, since I have potential, why do you want to drive me away? Qin Yi said in confusion. His tone was very respectful. Although you can no longer threaten me, you are a strong person after all, and the strong need to be respected. The palace master was silent for a long time. After a while, he continued. First, the order of the underworld that you have obtained can only obtain some information that violates the order of the underworld. The palace of reincarnation still has this kind of order, and it has no impact. The entire underworld only needs it is enough for the Samsara palace to maintain stability, so it will be the same with or without you. Qin Yi twitched the corner of his mouth, but seeing that the palace master didn't speak, he asked, what about the second one? The palace master seemed to have turned his head, no longer looking at Qin Yi, but towards the sky, and said quietly, second, I can't support you. How to raise him in the reincarnation hall? This thing is a bottomless pit. The more you eat, the stronger you become, and the stronger you are, the more you eat. The more you eat, the stronger you become, and the stronger you become, the more you eat. There is no limit to the direct spiral upward cycle. Who can really afford it? Moreover, there is no shortage of strong men in the Samsara Palace, including Qin Yi. He was given a small part of the order of the underworld, and from now on the Palace of Samsara could not do anything to him. This was a great favor that he had no choice but to do. It's better to get out of here and go somewhere else to cause trouble yourself. Qin Yi, let's go, don't come to the reincarnation hall, and don't expect the reincarnation monument to give you order in the underworld. The reincarnation monument gives you order in the underworld. It just looks at your potential, nothing more. Whether you can grow up or not depends on your own destiny. The palace master paused for a moment when he said this. Then his tone increased and he said seriously, remember, the palace of reincarnation will not hurt you, but you can't hurt the palace of reincarnation either. Otherwise, whoever takes the initiative will die. There is cause and effect involved. Even if you are involved behind the scenes, you cannot escape the order of the underworld. Suppression. Qin Yi was shocked when he heard this. Is it so serious? Then what if I die outside? Qin Yi asked. The order of the underworld in your body will return to the reincarnation monument. The master of the palace said quietly, his voice was simple and distant, as if it came from a previous era. Yes. The corners of Qin Yi's eyes twitched. It seemed like he had no backer again. It is my decision to let you leave, not the decision of the order of the underworld, but I believe that your leaving will be beneficial and harmless to the reincarnation hall. Based on this, I owe you 2 causes and effects. At this time, the palace master spoke again. Qin Yi's eyes lit up. Wasn't it just a favor between 2 people? It seemed like they were hugging each other again. I will help you pay back the first cause and effect I owe you. Although the 200 yin god sect didn't do it on purpose, it also inadvertently encouraged you and allowed the order of the underworld to see your potential, which is why ridiculous things happened. Therefore, for those 200 yin shenmen, I will save them from death for you. The palace master said calmly. Thank you, palace master. Qin Yi was stunned for a moment, then nodded without any dissatisfaction in his heart. He is not a turtle who can't tell right from wrong. Those 200 yin shenmen should not be implicated. But his body still hurts. After all, this is a favor from the master of the reincarnation hall. The second cause and effect I owe you is that except for the choice of giving you food, you can make your own decisions. When the palace master said this, his tone changed a bit and became a bit more playful. For example, I can help you deal with your feud with the yin death python. Even if you want the entire reincarnation hall to take action together, I will agree to it. Qin Yi shook his head directly. That won't work. What a loss. The palace master probably knew this result, and after hearing this, he didn't say anything more. Instead, he turned around and took a step, and his figure slowly disappeared. The distortion of heaven and earth gradually disappeared and returned to normal. But before disappearing completely, he still left a piece of advice. If you need me to return your karma, just shout to the sky. Besides, be careful not to eat away the underworld. The underworld is also a part of the order. If you eat the underworld, you will fight against the order and you will die. These words echoed between heaven and earth and lingered for a long time. When Qin Yi heard this, he stood there for a long time. Suddenly, he raised his head and looked at the world, as if he understood something. Holy crap, the reincarnation monument gave me part of the order of the underworld. Isn't this an investment? And you can also restrain me before I get up, to prevent me from eating up the underworld. Qin Yi felt inexplicably that the order of the underworld was both optimistic about him and afraid of him, so he invested in him and restricted him at the same time. It seems, no big deal. That's okay. I don't know if I can control my mouth in the future. It's okay to have a limit. Qin Yi shook his head, then there was sadness in his eyes. It was fine when I came here and I was very happy to eat. Now I am driven away again and I can't hug the lap of the Samsara palace. Qin Yi sighed silently. He just felt that it was very troublesome, and he would have to find his lap again. But the more he thought about it, the more upset he became. The thighs outside were not as thick as those in the Samsara palace. Although the palace master owed him a favor, the value of that thing was too great. It's the same as the nuclear weapons in the previous life. He can't use it on the yin death python, right? Forget it, let's go. A turtle, a little black jade spider, is going to wander again. Qin Yi turned around and walked slowly into the distance. There are 3 departments in the reincarnation hall: the good and evil department, the Yinshen department, and the hell department. Yinshen C. Facing the underworld, illegal feminine objects and yang objects that sneak into the underworld can be killed immediately. Facing the upper world, the ghosts of the dead creatures in the upper world stay in the upper world instead of going to the underworld. They can be captured and then sent to the Department of Good and Evil for trial. Department of Good and Evil. The ghosts who died in the world are judged, the good ones are sent to reincarnation, and the evil ones are sent to hell. Hell Division. He is in charge of 18 small worlds of hell, and each small world has different punishments. There are also yin gods in the hell department, but they have different positions and different names, called Ghost Slaughter. Ghost Slayers are people who specialize in torturing evildoers sent to hell. At this moment, Hell Gate, a hierarchical organization under the Hell Department, has been crowded with people recently. Brother, how do you use this hook? Teach me. Shira came to a huge oil pot and slaughtered the ghost with green-faced fangs. He held a hook in his hand and was ready to catch the evil one and throw it into the oil pot. It's you, Yin Shen's under the Yinshen division. After losing your position, you went to the Hell division to steal my job, right? Get away, I won't teach you. The ghost butcher cursed and glared at Shira. Shira was furious and was about to reprimand him when another voice came from the side. Hey, isn't this brother control? How can he control the gate of hell? Shira's face darkened when he heard such teasing remarks. He turned around and saw a sect leader who knew him from the Hell Gate and had a normal relationship with him. I heard that you were causing trouble, and all 200 Yin Shen sects were disbanded and reorganized. Among them, 5 Yin Shen sects were disbanded, and their subordinates were absorbed by other Yin Shen sects, while the sect leaders were assigned here. That's right. No. The leader of the Hell Gate smiled. This matter made a big fuss, and most of the Yinwu in the Samsara Palace knew Shira's name. It's just a ghost god. I don't want to be a ghost god for a long time. I want to come here from the Hell Division to increase my qualifications. Shira smiled disdainfully. Okay, work hard. Your realm is there. You are not weak. It is not difficult to become the master of the Hell Gate. The master of the Hell Gate smiled seriously and expressed his goodwill. Shira breathed a sigh of relief, nodded and said, "Thank you very much. Let's go, Brother Control, I'll take you to get familiar with our Hell Gate." The leader of the Hell Gate still couldn't help but want to tease him, but Shira's face darkened again. The clouds were thick, the wind was howling, and the sky was still so dark. A giant tortoise was facing the wind, rumbling and rolling on the ground. The speed was not fast, but the tortoise shell of about 200 meters was like a moving mountain, which was very shocking and majestic. This turtle is naturally Qin Yi. He was leaving the Palace of Reincarnation, rolling on the disorderly underworld, heading straight to the eastern realm of the underworld, without stopping along the way. The center of the underworld is the Hall of Reincarnation, and the surrounding area is the disordered underworld. The southeast, northwest and northwest outside the disordered Yin soil are the Eastern Territory, the Western Territory, the Northern Territory and the Southern Territory. The 4 major domains are rooted in many wild and underworld places. The Yin Death Land, one of the hundreds of wild underworlds, is located in the eastern region of the underworld. It's time to settle the score with the Yin Death Python. Qin Yi said coldly. The reincarnation hall doesn't want him and doesn't care about his life or death, but it doesn't dare to target him either. From now on, he must be careful outside. And the first thing he has to deal with must be the Yin Death Python. The reason is, for revenge, and also to devour the countless bones there. Qin Yi didn't trust him, he was confident. Before completely leaving the reincarnation hall, he took out the sound transmission stone and had a conversation with Yin Shui. Previously, he asked Yin Shui for help in investigating the background of Yin Death Python. Yin Shui really remembered it in her heart and kept looking for connections in the reincarnation hall to help him find out a lot of key information. The Yin Death Python comes from the vast area outside the 4 major domains. It is the habitat of top-notch ghost creatures such as the Great Demon of the Underworld, the evil spirits of the Underworld, and the relics of the Netherworld. The Yin Death Python was once a great demon in the Underworld, and it was very ambitious and wanted to transform into a dragon, but it failed. It was also because of the failure to transform into a dragon that he was seriously injured and his strength was greatly reduced. It's just that even if the strength is weakened, it is still very strong for you. This is what Yin Shui said to him in the sound transmission stone, and his tone was serious and warning. Then Yin Shui added, currently, the Yin Death Python's realm is at the 5th level of the Spirit Sea realm, but its real combat power is at the 9th level of the Spirit Sea realm. In addition, the Yin Death Python is extremely insidious and may have some trump cards. Use all of them to gain combat power. May be invincible in the Spiritual Sea realm. Rumble. The tortoise shell was still rolling, running towards the distant sky. Qin Yi inside the tortoise shell recalled what Yin Shui had said. He began to calculate his combat power. I have been growing up in the reincarnation hall for too long, and I have basically never had any conflicts with anyone. Therefore, he doesn't know what his strength is. However, Qin Yi can also roughly estimate. In the past, when I was in the high-level 1st level, I turned on the violent talent, and my strength was barely enough to compete with the high-level 6th level. Just use this as a reference. I am a high-level 2nd level player, but I can barely compete with a high-level 7th level player. A high-level 3rd level player can barely compete with a high-level 8th level player. High-level 4th level players can compete with high-level 9th level players. High-level. If you are a high-level 9th level warrior, you can barely compete with the 5th level Spiritual Sea realm. Now I am at the 3rd level of the Spirit Sea realm. I can barely fight. The 8th level of the Spirit Sea realm. The rolling turtle shell gradually slowed down, and Qin Yi thought of the key point. No, it can't be calculated like this, because I rely on evolution to improve my state. Every time I evolve, my physical body can be strengthened. In addition, every time I evolve, I can gain a skill. In other words, I am currently at the 3rd level of the Spirit Sea realm and have turned on my violent talent. I should not be able to forcefully fight against the 8th level of the Spirit Sea realm. It should be that it can crush the 8th level of the Spiritual Sea realm head-on, and can barely fight against the 9th level of the Spiritual Sea realm. Qin Yi lost his backer, his mind started to spin again, and he began to make cautious judgments. The speed of the turtle shell slowed down until it stopped, standing on the wilderness like a huge mountain. But Yin Shui also said that when the Yin Death Python explodes with all its strength, it can be invincible in the Spiritual Sea realm. Qin Yi murmured, starting to mutter. With his current strength, he still can't beat the Yin Death Python. That's all, let me evolve first and then talk about it. Qin Yi sighed. Between the 200 Yin Shenmen, he kept eating, and he had already accumulated 400,000 evolution points. It can evolve. It was only because of the appearance of the Lord of the Reincarnation Hall that his evolution was delayed. But now, it can evolve. Xiaobai, you are out for fun. Qin Yi said nothing and watched Xiaobai leave his body and go not far away. He lay down on the spot and began to evolve. Open the evolution panel, and the evolution prompt pop-up box will pop up. Do you want to start evolving? Qin Yi chose yes. Evolving. Qin Yi's body shape changed. The body size of 200 meters has grown to 210 meters. The appearance has not changed much, it still looks like an abyss tortoise. The area under the jurisdiction of the 200 Yin Shen sects is the disordered Yin Earth. There are no good resources in it, and they are all roughly the same. Therefore, he eats the same food, so his appearance after evolution has not changed much. It's just that the size has increased. Qin Yi opened the evolution panel. Race. Yin-Yang Demon Turtle. Identity. Agent of Order in the Underworld. Realm. 4th stage of Linghai Realm. Skills. Sprint, Bite, Super Perception, Grass Shield, Rolling, Shock Wave, Bone Spur, Greedy Mouth, Ground Spur, Super Acceleration, Forced Turn, Camouflage, Extreme Yin War Cry, White Beam Impact, Heavy Attack, Suction, Focus on Defense, Earth Seal, Continuous Fluctuation, Repromotion, and Buffering. Talents. Color Change, Shock, Rage, Order. Evolution Value. 0.450,000. As long as the realm has improved, I am now at the 4th level of the Linghai realm. And there is a new skill, Buffering. Qin Yi grinned and immediately used his newly acquired skills. Immediately he was moved. After this skill is used, any damage that falls on him will be partially transferred to the ground along the body. Damage reduction skills, Qin Yi said in surprise. His defense is already terrifying, and with the addition of damage reduction skills, his defense becomes even more impenetrable. But this skill requires contact with the ground. Once I'm off the ground, there's no way to deflect the damage. Qin Yi thought about it and kept this key information in his heart. Fortunately, I have the skill of Earth Divine Seal, which allows me to stick to the ground without fear of being knocked away. Qin Yi smiled faintly, and the pressure in his heart was greatly reduced. He is now at the 4th level of the Linghai realm. Coupled with multiple evolutions, multiple physical body enhancements, and multiple acquired skills. If you use them all, they will definitely not be weaker than the 9th level of the Linghai realm. The realm of the Yin Death Python is the 5th level of the Spirit Sea realm, but its true combat power is the 9th level of the Spirit Sea realm. I tried my best to fight him. But if the Yin Death Python tries its best and uses all its cards, it will be invincible at the Spiritual Sea realm and I can't beat it. Qin Yi frowned, feeling troubled, but in the end, he shook his head and smiled, then relaxed. He felt that he was taking things too seriously. As long as he doesn't force Yin Death Python, how could he reveal all his cards? As long as you are not in a hurry, the dog will not jump over the wall. What's more important is that I can't beat you, but I can run away. My defense is not for nothing, and I can run fast. Even if I can't defeat the Yin Death Python, I won't be crushed by him. Run, you can always outrun. Qin Yi grinned. He also has super perception skills, which allow him to sense danger and the strength of his enemies. Rumble. The turtle shell rolled. First go to the vicinity of the Yin Death land and use your super perception skills to determine how much of a threat the Yin Death Python poses to me. Without real data, guesses are just guesses. Qin Yi decided to go to the Yin Death land first to test the Yin Death Python. Boss, wait for me. Xiaobai's voice sounded outside the turtle shell. Qin Yi stopped and let Xiaobai enter the turtle shell. At the same time, I was thinking about the bones in the dead place. There, he can definitely evolve again. A battle with the Yin Death Python is inevitable. Try it first, and if you can't beat him, run away, then spend time looking for resources to evolve once, and then beat him. If you still can't beat me, continue to grow. Then beat me after you've grown. As long as I run fast, the Yin Death Python can't do anything to me. Qin Yeji smiled sarcastically, and when he saw Xiaobai getting into the turtle shell, he hissed, the turtle shell rolled, and flew away. The eastern region of the Underworld, one of the hundreds of wild underworlds, is the land of death. Here at night, the entire underworld seems as dark as ink. The evil wind blew across the earth, and the evil creatures from the underworld appeared again. The sounds of roars and rumbling battles were endless. Qin Yi finally came back and came to the Yin Death land. He activated his color-changing talent, turning his body into black and blending into the night, as if he were invisible. The 210-meter-long giant turtle shell, under the cover of noise, was indistinguishable from silence. He first came to the edge of Yin Death land, Yin Shui Pond. But this place is nothing like the past. The nearby yin-devouring tree forest has long since disappeared, leaving only a piece of wasteland where some weak yin creatures linger. Near the Yin Shui Pond, there are no flowers, plants or trees, and it is deserted and desolate. Even the Yin Shui Pond has dried up. Even foreign evil creatures, such as thousand-legged centipedes and pitch-black giant birds, have invaded here. Qin Yi seemed invisible on the outside and rolled all the way. These evil creatures did not notice him and were crushed to death without paying attention. He went deep into the Yin Shui Pond without stopping and headed towards the 10,000 Bone Mountains. Along the way, none of the former Ghost Spider Girl's guards were seen. However, there are a few bold foreign creatures that live in the mountains between Yin Shui Pond and Wanggu Mountains. Declined. Qin Zhe sighed with emotion. He did not disturb those foreign creatures and continued to move forward. After a while, he arrived at the 10,000 Bones mountain range. Qin Yi used his super perception skill, with a range of 20,000 meters, and swept across it. As his realm improves, the power of his skills also increases. When he first obtained the super perception skill, the range was only 5,000 meters, but now it is 20,000 meters, or 20 kilometers. The Ghost Spider Girl leader is really gone. Qin Yi sighed. The super sense swept across the 10,000 Bones mountains, but no living creatures were detected. There was total silence here. He took out his limbs, tail and head from the turtle shell and looked around. The darkness did not hinder his vision. The 10,000 Bones mountain range is filled with white bones, densely packed and directly covering the mountains. It's as if this mountain range is made of bones. When the Bone Army broke out from the Black Plains, the 10,000 Bones mountains were the first to be destroyed. It makes sense that there are bones here, but they haven't been cleaned up yet. Qin Yi was not careless. Maybe the Yin Death Python was still in the Yin Death land, but it just didn't recruit new subordinates. He looked up at the depths of the 10,000 Bones mountains, which was the direction of the Black Plain. He is now 210 meters tall, about the same size as a large mountain, not much shorter than the surrounding mountains. Eat first and then talk. Qin Yi came to the Yin Death Python not only for revenge, but also to eat the bones here. Naturally, he would not leave the bones here uneaten. Next, he continued to activate his super perception skills, stood among the mountains, and opened his huge mouth. Activate the greedy mouth skill. In an instant, the many white bones covering the 10,000 Bones mountain range turned into tornadoes and all burrowed into his mouth. In the past, he had to eat mountain after mountain of bones here, and he had to crush them before eating. But now, there is no need to do this. He stood there, opened his huge mouth, and sucked all the bones from the surrounding mountains into his mouth. Swallowing a piece of golden snake bones at the mid-level, evolution value plus 0.009. Swallow the white bones of the second stage ghost tiger in the middle stage, evolution value plus 0.01. Swallowing the fifth stage rock giant in the middle stage, evolution value plus 0.04. Swallowing the mid-level 9th level demon ape, evolution value plus 0.08. Swallow a high-level black and white fox, evolution value plus 0.09. Swallow. Qin Yi felt a little sad. There are not only bones here, but also long-dead colleagues. When the White Bone Army entered the 10,000 Bones mountains, the bodyguards and bodyguard commanders led by the Ghost Spider Girl all died here. Bang, bang. Qin Yi walked around, and every time he took a foot, the ground shook. He ate while walking, and continued to penetrate deeper into the 10,000 Bones mountains. Along the way, he sucked in the bones on the surface of the mountains and ravines into his mouth. After a while, Qin Yi reached the end of the 10,000 Bones mountain range. The 10,000 Bones mountain range behind was completely free of bones this time. He stood at the end of the 10,000 Bones mountains and looked ahead at the end, which was a black plain. It was dark, deep, eerie and silent, and a strong yin qi floated from inside. Qin Yi was thinking that if the Ghost Spider Girl was still here, she would be very happy to see this scene. He shook his head and moved on. The Black Plain is very wide, covering an area of 40,000 to 50,000 miles. The Dark Death Python lives in the sky above the center of the Black Plain. Qin Yi had just stepped into the Black Plain, and it was impossible to attract the attention of the Yin Death Python. He opened his huge mouth and swallowed the bones on the ground again. The Bone Army came out of the Black Plains. Therefore, after he entered the Black Plain, there were numerous bones lying along the road. Rumble. The bones on the road turned into white tornadoes and poured into Qin Yi's mouth. Qin Yi kept raising his feet and went deeper into the Black Plain. Eaten for half an hour. Qin Yi also walked for half an hour. Just when he wanted to go deeper, a chill suddenly swept through his body. Qin Yi stopped swallowing, raised his head, and stared ahead. Super perception skills with a range of 20 kilometers did not detect danger. But his own instinct told him that something, 20 miles away, was staring at him. Qin Yi has the talent of order, which was given to him by the order of the Underworld. Once opened, it allows him to obtain all information that violates the order of the Underworld. But even if it is not turned on, he has the order of the Underworld and has a strong sense of everything in the Underworld. At this moment, Qin Yi was very sure that something was targeting him. He stood still, staring into the depths of the Black Plain. At some point, the dark sky and the earth lost the howling wind and became terrifyingly silent. Wisps of oppressive aura began to fill the Black Plain. The world is dark, gloomy and depressing. Qin Yi vaguely saw a thick snake body appearing on the ground 20 kilometers away. The snake's body was extremely huge and submerged into the clouds, connecting heaven and earth. This scene is shocking. This snake's tail was missing. It only raised half of its body and got into the clouds. Qin couldn't see the snake's head, but the snake body connected to the sky and the ground told him that the snake's head must be raised high, overlooking him in the air. Death Python. Qin expression was solemn. Even though his whole body changed color and blended into the darkness, as if he was invisible, he was still discovered. He tensed his whole body and began to accumulate strength. At this moment, everything was silent. There was no sound from heaven and earth, and even the dark wind that often appeared disappeared. The picture seems to be still. Suddenly, Qin retreated into his turtle shell and activated all speed skills. Sprint, roll, super acceleration, force steering. With a bang, the 200-meter-sized turtle shell began to rotate. In 0.1 seconds, it skidded in place hundreds of times. It turned strangely in 0.2 seconds and rolled towards the 10,000 Bones Mountains. Boo-hoo-hoo. The turtle shell rushed into the 10,000 Bones Mountains in the blink of an eye at an elusive speed. Ahead were mountains within the 10,000 Bones mountain range. He didn't hesitate and charged straight into it. With his current strength, when he rushes over, the mountains are no obstacle at all. Mountains were smashed by him like tofu. Rolling all the way, Qin was stunned and hit a huge straight rolling path in the 10,000 Bones Mountains. Some of the mountains on the edge rubbed against his turtle shell, and part of it was shattered, leaving only a half-moon-shaped gap. Rumble. At this time, the yin death python behind them moved, and its huge snake body, like a dragon's body, came over. On the dark ground, the huge turtle shell was rolling like a mountain. All the way forward, he was so unstoppable that he smashed into pieces all the mountains and ravines, creating a highway. However, no matter how fast he was still not as fast as the yin death python behind him. The yin death python's huge snake body twisted and shattered the entire 10,000 Bones mountain range. The mountains collapsed and turned into debris. At the same time, its speed increased sharply. Within 3 or 4 seconds, it came behind Qin. Qin didn't need to think about it, he knew how oppressive the yin death python's appearance was at this time. The snake body that covers the sky and the sun is chasing after him. His body of 210 meters is like a mountain, but in front of the yin death python, it is probably not half as wide as the snake body. Are you Qin? The yin death python had no murderous intentions and pursued from behind. Then it spoke, its voice thick and cold, with a great sense of oppression. When I left, I was only 30 or 40 meters tall. When I came back, I was 200 meters tall. This guy couldn't recognize me. Qin was rolling, and his heart moved when he heard this. He immediately spoke in the turtle shell. Who is Qin? I am just a passing creature. If there is any offense, I will leave immediately. At the same time, the super perception skill is continuously activated to sense the strength of the yin death python and whether it can pose a threat to him. I get annoyed when I see a turtle. Last time I was careless and let one go. This time you keep it. The yin death python spoke solemnly, its voice resonant, thick and majestic. The realm of the yin death python is in the 5th stage of the spiritual sea realm. I am not wrong about this. Well, I haven't made a comparison with the real combat power. When Qin heard the yin death python's voice, he knew that this guy was going to kill him. He no longer hid it, and directly activated his violent talent. Strength, skills, all-round improvement. Boom. Qin, who is in the 4th level of the Linghai realm, maintains the speed of the 4th level of the Linghai realm. But after turning on his violent talent, his speed soared. With a hiss, he shook off the yin death python. In a few breaths, he rolled out of the 10,000 Bones mountains and arrived at the Yinshui pond. Qin's speed did not slow down and he continued to roll out. Court death. The yin death python didn't seem to expect that turtle shell's speed would suddenly increase, and it would throw him away directly. His tone became more serious, mixed with monstrous murderous intent. He used all his strength and crashed all the way up, causing the surrounding mountains and earth to collapse and collapse. Gradually, he caught up with Qin again. This guy's speed is not slow either. Qin was shocked. He is at the 4th level of the spiritual sea realm. With his violent talent and all skills activated, he can fight against the 9th level of the spiritual sea realm. But compared to combat power, his speed is his biggest advantage. At this time, he was rolling with almost all his strength, and even at the 9th level of the Linghai realm, his speed was at the top of the top. But the Yin Death Python still caught up with him, and was slowly closing the distance with him. The roaring and shaking continued, and the turtle shell and the giant python ran wildly one behind the other. They had already reached the Yinshui pond, but in the blink of an eye they were gone and came to the wilderness. All the yin objects along the way suffered disaster. Even if they were not hit by them, just the strong wind carried by them as they ran wildly could break the bodies of these elementary and intermediate yin objects. You are only in the 4th level of the Linghai realm, why are you so fast? Who are you? The Yin Death Python gradually closed the distance between it and the turtle shell. There was already a gap of 100 meters. He spoke gloomily and his tone was shocked. Grandson, go eat dirt. Qin Yi ignored him and activated the bone spur skill while rolling. In an instant, the 7 or 8 meter long bone spurs that were already raised on the turtle shell immediately extended out, reaching more than 20 meters. The cone-like white bone spurs densely covered all parts of the turtle shell. At this time, the turtle shell was rolling upright, and the bone spurs on the edge of the turtle shell, after stretching, penetrated deep into the soil. As it rotated and rolled rapidly, the bone spurs violently scraped the soil on the ground. Only a large amount of soil was seen, scraped out by the bone spurs, and splashed towards the Yin Death Python behind him. You will die today. The Yin Death Python was furious, with a cold tone and murderous intent. He was really angry, extremely angry. This turtle was so mean. All the dirt scraped from the bone spurs on the turtle shell splashed onto his face. If he doesn't chase him, this fool will run away. If he chases him, he will be washed away by the dirt again. The damage is not high, but it is extremely insulting. He was so angry that Death Python had never experienced such injustice. In an instant, endless anger surged in his heart. The Yin Death Python stopped talking this time, and concentrated its mind, twisting its body with all its strength, and speeding up again, even if it would be washed away by mud. Boom! The surrounding earth was in disaster, and large areas of the ground were shattered as he twisted his body. It's close again. Is this the state where he is trying his best? He is indeed invincible in the spiritual sea realm. Qin Ye was startled. In his super sense, he could feel the Yin Death Python approaching him faster. It was only 20 or 30 meters away from him at the moment, and it was still shortening the distance. Well, I have actually measured the speed. This speed must be the strongest state when he tries his best and shows all his cards. Qin Yi was very excited. Of course, he had not tested the combat power of the Yin Death Python. He had only tested the speed limit of the Yin Death Python. Enough. As long as he can get the speed advantage, no matter how strong the Yin Death Python is, it can't do anything to him. I'm trying my best, but I'm still at a disadvantage in terms of speed. But what is the ability to accelerate in a straight line? Turning fast is really fast. Qin Yi smiled coldly and activated the skill again, forced steering. A strange scene appeared. The turtle shell at high speed suddenly turned a 90-degree turn. During this process, he did not drift, flick, or slow down. It turned in such a weird and steady direction, and kept rolling at high speed, rolling straight into the depths of the wilderness. The Yin Death Python does not have such good control. Seeing Qin Yi turning suddenly and so smoothly, he was shocked and followed the turn subconsciously. Then, the Yin Death Python overturned. His snake body was already long, and his upper body made a 90-degree turn, while the lower body and tail of the snake were still rushing forward. The final result was that the inertia of the snake's tail rushing forward severely pulled his upper body as he turned the corner, causing the snake's body to straighten, which also greatly reduced his speed. What was even more embarrassing was that the inertia brought by this high-speed turn also caused his whole body to turn dozens of times. Only a few rumbling sounds were heard. The Yin Death Python was not only pulled by its own tail, slowing down, but the snake's body also rolled 40 or 50 times. When he adjusted his condition again and chased Qin Yi again, Qin Yi was nowhere to be seen again. In this high-speed pursuit, even if it is hindered for a second or two, the distance between the two sides will be exaggeratedly widened. The Yin Death Python was furious. He was not running, but raised his head and looked coldly at the direction Qin Yi was rolling, but he couldn't see where Qin Yi was. Obviously, with just this one turn, Qin Yi threw him away and ran away. Boom! At this time, an even more furious scene appeared, and Qin Yi came back again. When Qin Yi saw that the Yin Death Python did not follow, he turned and ran back. He rolled to a kilometer in front of the Yin Death Python and said humbly, "A guy who can't even see the exhaust of your grandpa or me is worthy of chasing him." The Yin Death Python saw this scene and heard these words again. Although he didn't understand a few of the words, he knew that they must be mocking him. His eyes suddenly turned red and he was about to explode with anger. The Yin Death Python never expected that this fool would be so mean and needy. This guy has already escaped his pursuit, but he still dares to turn around and come to him, and even dares to provoke him. The Yin Death Python roared angrily, and the sound was a bit like a dragon's roar, with a powerful penetrating power that shook the world. Qin Yi felt numb all over after hearing this, and he had some illusions in his heart, as if the Yin Death Python was not a python, but a dragon. Suddenly, his eyes contracted, and he saw that the Yin Death Python was not a complete python. There was a giant dragon forelimb on his upper body. There is only one, thick and strong, and the dragon claw at the end is even more sharp and terrifying. The giant dragon's forelimbs were purple gold, which was incompatible with the black snake body, but it was still terrifying enough. This guy failed to transform into a dragon, but he still has some characteristics of a dragon, including a dragon's forelimbs. Qin Yi was shocked, but he also felt that the Yin Death Python only had one dragon's forelimb, which was asymmetrical and extremely weird. The dragon is not a dragon, the snake is not a snake, what the hell are you? Qin Yi asked. The body of the Yin Death Python was shaken, and its eyes were blood red from anger. What time is it now? Now is the time when he will become furious and chase you to death. Why are you still in the mood to ask such a question? The Yin Death Python didn't speak a word, roared and twisted its body, killing Qin Yi again. Qin Yi was already on guard. When he saw the Yin Death Python making any movement, he rolled his turtle shell, turned around and ran away. Grandson, is the soil delicious? Qin Yi stood up and rolled, and the elongated bone spurs on the edge of the turtle shell penetrated deep into the soil. The soil splashed out as he rolled hit the Yin Death Python's head again, but he was not satisfied yet and continued to provoke while running. The Yin Death Python did not speak anymore, and stared fiercely at the fool in front of him. He raised his head to avoid splashing mud on his face, and then accelerated his pursuit. Qin Yi saw that Yin Death Python was serious, so he did not dare to be careless and rushed forward with all his strength. He knew that his limit speed was not as fast as that of the Yin Death Python, so whenever the Yin Death Python wanted to catch up behind him, he would forcefully turn and make a turn. And every time he used this move, he could easily get rid of the Yin Death Python. Although the Yin Death Python was already prepared, it was still embarrassed by this sudden U-turn. Almost every time, he had to roll several times before he could continue to chase Qin Yi. Once again, after the Yin Death Python failed to turn in time and rolled over, he stopped pursuing it. As he expected, Qin Yi came back to look for him again, keeping 1,000 meters distance between the two sides. The Yin Death Python suppressed its anger and murderous intent, its eyes were oppressive, and it stared at Qin Yi indifferently. You are Qin Yi, only Qin Yi can control the expansion and contraction of the bone spurs on the turtle shell, and only Qin Yi can make the turtle shell roll. Quote, Qin Yi no longer cares about his identity being exposed at this time, but he just refuses to admit it, which makes you a deadbeat. He smiled cowardly. Grandson, I am not Qin Yi, I am Qin Yi's cousin, Qin Ye, you can call me Grandpa. The Yin Death Python did not speak, but his expression was ferocious, the corners of his eyes twitched, and there were more bloodshot eyes. Obviously, he was suppressing his anger that was rising again. Grandson, don't hold back, call out twice for your grandpa to hear. Qin Yi sneered, his voice extremely disrespectful and mean. And when he said this, the Yin Death Python's original intention was to roar and vent. Therefore, just when the Yin Death Python was about to roar, it heard these words and immediately turned green. He immediately stopped roaring, but the roar was already out of his mouth, which caused his roar to deform, no longer as majestic as a dragon's roar, but as shrill as a eunuch's. Qin Yi laughed, turned around and ran away. Because he knew that the Yin Death Python's mentality was probably broken by him this time, and he would definitely kill him at all costs. It's better to run away in advance. Sure enough, after Qin Yi rolled ahead, an earth-shattering roar like a dragon's roar came from behind him. The sound immediately made Qinyi feel numb all over, and he almost lost control of his speed and wanted to slow down. Fortunately, he gritted his teeth and tried his best to rush forward, so he was not affected by the roar. "Didn't you come after me?" After running for a certain distance, Qinyi felt the calmness behind him and felt surprised. The yin death python could bear it so well and didn't even chase him. At this time, a sudden change occurred. A strong sense of crisis surged in Qinyi's heart. Grass. Not good. Qinyi, who was rolling, felt a huge crisis and subconsciously activated all defensive skills. Grass shield and buffer. The grass shield is the dense growth of grass on the turtle shell, thickening and covering the turtle shell. Buffering means that after receiving damage, part of the damage will be transferred from him to the ground. Although there are only 2 defensive skills, they are enough. After all, as a turtle, he has strong defense. Not to mention, after evolving so many times, with each evolution, the body will become stronger and the defense will be more powerful. However, Qinyi was still worried. He kept rolling and continued to move forward. At the same time, he continued to sense the changes behind him with his super perception skills. Suddenly, Qinyi's expression changed. With his super perception skills within a 20-kilometer range, he actually sensed an extremely dangerous black light attacking him from behind. The black light was like a beam, extremely fast. As soon as the super perception skill was detected, the black beam hit his turtle shell. Rumble. The beam was only as thick as the mouth of a bull, but it was extremely destructive. As soon as it hit the turtle shell, Qinyi felt pain as if his bones were about to break. Even though he had grass shields and buffering skills that could help him defend and reduce damage, the power of the beam was too strong. He felt that the turtle shell would crack if he held on for a while. Once the turtle shell cracked, he couldn't imagine the consequences. At this moment, Qinyi was pushed by the beam and rushed forward uncontrollably. He made a prompt decision and activated another skill, focused defense. There are actually 3 defensive skills: grass shield, buffer and focus on defense. The first 2 are range-based, and the last one is single-target defensive. Focus on defense and concentrate the whole body's strength on a certain part of the body, and this part will gain unparalleled defensive capabilities. As Qinyi focused on defense, grass shields, buffers, and other skills were all unavailable. Because all the strength of the whole body has been mobilized and concentrated at one point. Qinyi's reaction was also extremely fast. In an instant, he concentrated all his strength on the part hit by the black light. At this moment, he was not rolling, but standing on the same spot, using his turtle shell to hold the beam. When the focus on defense is turned on, he wouldn't feel the pain anymore. The part of the turtle shell where the black light fell has been heavily defended, and its defense power has reached an extremely exaggerated level. Black light cannot penetrate that part at all. Thank you, grandson. Qinyi grinned. He felt no pain, only a strong push on his back. Yes, he was pushed forward by the beam, and at the end he didn't forget to shout at the other end of the beam. The next moment, the beam disappeared. Qinyi guessed that when the yin death python heard his words, he knew that he was fine, so he put away his beam magical power. Seeing this, Qinyi put away his main defense, used speed skills again, rolled quickly, and disappeared into the night in a short while. The yin death python wants to kill me so much. This attack is probably a blow with all his strength. But my turtle shell can still withstand it. Hey, the results tonight are good. Although I am at a disadvantage in terms of speed, I can turn and compete. As for the yin death python's attack, even if it falls on me, I can withstand it for a short period of time. This part of the time can allow me to mobilize my defense to defend myself and directly neutralize the opponent's attack damage. In other words, he can't catch me, and he can't hit me. Then I can take action next. I will return to the Black Plain after a while, eat the bones and run away. I must evolve here. Qinyi smiled excitedly. This night's pursuit battle ended like this. The yin death python was not chasing him, and Qinyi no longer ran away. Instead, he stayed away from the yin death land, found a random place in the wild, dug a hole and lay down in it. Shall I take a break? I'll take a nap. Qinyi dropped a word and fell into a deep sleep. A night of tossing around took a lot of energy. He wanted to rest, adjust his condition, and wait until it gets dark tomorrow before taking action. Yes, boss. The black jade spider, which was already the size of a millstone, crawled out of Qin Yi's turtle shell, then climbed out of the giant pit, walked forward for 1,000 meters, then circled around the giant pit, leaving a scent, and then returned to the edge of the giant pit. Look to the left, look right and look around. Qin Yi slept through the day, and then slept through the night again, and everything was fine. He is already a giant. Even if Xiaobai is not guarding him, the ferocious beast aura on his body will scare away any nearby evil creatures. It's time to act. Qin Yi opened his fierce eyes and crawled out of the huge pit, making a rumbling vibration. Xiaobai jumped on the lap of the giant turtle with a tacit understanding, climbed all the way up, and soon got into the turtle shell. Let's go. Hell. Qin Yi rolled his turtle shell, taking advantage of the darkness of the night and the noise caused by the activities of the surrounding creatures. He activated his color-changing talent and blended into the night. Under the cover of the noise, he seemed to be invisible and rolled silently towards the underworld. After a while, he arrived at Yinchuiden. The changes here have been great. The ground is broken into pieces, with large and small pits everywhere, and there are also several huge traces of turtle shells and snake bodies being run over. It was all caused by him and the Yin Death Python escaping and chasing each other last night. Call out. Turtle shell speeds up. Qin Yi rolled towards the depths of the Yinshui pond, and did not stop when he passed the 10,000 bone mountains. He continued to go deeper, and finally entered the Black Plain. Bones strewn across the Black Plain. As soon as Qin Yi came here and saw the bones here, he opened his bloody mouth and activated his greedy mouth to devour all the bones on the Black Plain. He ate while walking, getting closer to the depths of the Black Plain, but in the end he did not enter the deepest part of the plain, but ate around the outside. As long as there are bones on the ground, he will not let them go and eat as many as they can. Boss, don't worry, I've left a scent along the way. If there's anything unusual, I'll let you know. Xiaobai whispered inside the turtle shell. Qin Yi nodded and continued eating. The Black Plain is very large, covering an area of 40,000 to 50,000 miles, and the Yin Death Python lives in the sky deep in the plain. Qin Yi didn't believe it. He didn't go deep into the depths of the plain. If he came back for the second time, he would attract the attention of the Yin Death Python. After all, there was just a battle yesterday, and the Yin Death Python would probably think that he would not come again in a short time. And Qin Yi just bet that the Yin Death Python had this idea, so he came here unscrupulously and ate so much. It doesn't matter even if I'm discovered, I can run fast. Thinking of this, Qin Yi continued to devour the bones with peace of mind. There are no bones in this area, let's go look for them. Hey, there's another piece here, eat, 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 eat. It feels so good, it feels so good. Late at night, Qin Yi secretly sneaked into the underworld, bold and careful, and kept showing off his food. After eating one place, he would roll his turtle shell, speed up the plains to look for bones, and then continue eating. In the middle of the night, Qin Yi ate the entire outer edge of the deepest part of the Black Plain. He even went to the northern area, which was once the area ruled by Qingjiao Niu. Before Qin Yi left the land of death, not only the 10,000 bone mountains led by the ghost spider girl to the west was invaded by the bone army. Even the area commanded by Qingjiao Niu in the north was invaded by the bone army. There are probably bones there too. Qin Yi rolled over. There are really many bones, which directly flooded the entire northern area. Qin Yi was pleasantly surprised. He was very decisive, leaned over and started eating. By the middle of the night, Qin Yi finally finished eating the bones in the northern area. I have eaten all the white bones in the west and north areas of the 10,000 bone mountains in the Yin Death land, as well as on the edge of the Black Plain in the middle. Qin Yi raised his head and looked in the direction of the Black Plain again. Now, the remaining bones are basically in the deepest part of the plain. There are many bones there. They are just alive. But with my current strength, they cannot threaten me, so there is no need to consider this. In addition, these living bones, there are more parts buried underground. Where is the tomb of 10,000 bones? Qin Yi's eyes flickered. That was his main target. It's just that the sky deep in the plains is where the Yin Death Python lives. Once he passes by, there is a high probability that he will be discovered by the Yin Death Python. And just when he was thinking about how to go deep into the plane, Xiaobai suddenly spoke up. Boss, the Yin Death Python seems to have discovered you, but he is very careful and is approaching you quietly from the depths of the plane. Qin Yi had eaten bones in the black plane before, and Xiaobai laughed the smell there by the way. And now, Xiaobai's scent found the Yin Death Python. Time to go. As soon as Qin Yi's turtle shell rolled, it rolled outward from the north area. Roar! A dragon-like roar came from behind him, shocking Qin Yi's whole body. And he had experienced it a long time ago. He immediately gritted his teeth, held on to the terrifying roar, and ran faster and faster outside. You still dare to come? The Yin Death Python also seemed to have discovered Qin Yi running, so it no longer concealed its whereabouts but quickly pursued him. The Yin Death Python is going to explode with rage. He never expected that the two sides had just fought yesterday. Qin Yi, this fool, dared to come to the Yin Death Land the next day and showed off all the bones in the Yin Death Land. It was really arrogant. This is why you came to his house to work. The kind that runs away after finishing the meal. Isn't this pointing at his nose to humiliate him? At this moment, Yin Death Python's mentality was really a bit broken. Even though he was far away from Qin Yi, he kept chasing him all night long. Until daytime came, and seeing that he could not catch up with Qin Yi, Yin Death Python returned to Yin Death Land with red eyes. But as the day passed and night came, the sky and the earth were as dark as ink. Qin Yi entered the land of death again. Boss, that shameless snake is squatting on you in the northern area. Don't enter the hell of death from the northern area. Xiaobai reminded that wherever Qin Yi walked, she left a scent. As long as the Yin Death Python touches the scent, she will sense it. And she also knew that leaving a scent could easily be tracked by the Yin Death Python, so the scent she left was always intermittent. Her magical power of smell ignores distance. As long as the smell exists and is touched, it can be sensed by her. Don't worry, boss, that lazy snake has a magical power over my scent and didn't notice it. He is still squatting on you underground in the northern area. Xiaobai reminded me seriously again. Qin Yi immediately turned around and entered the Yin Death Land from the west. As soon as he entered, he went straight to the deepest black plain, directly alarming the army of bones in the deepest part. These armies of bones kept swimming around in the deep area where the Yin Qi turned into mist, like zombies. As soon as he was alerted by Qin Yi, he rushed out of the foggy area. Qin Yi didn't have the intention to play with the skeleton army before. When he saw them coming out, he didn't even need to deal with them and just opened his mouth to devour them. Now you can eat as much as you can, but you can't care about so much. Boss, the Yin Death Python has discovered you, and he is coming to kill you from the northern area. Xiaobai spoke nervously. Slip. As soon as Qin Yi rolled his turtle shell, he turned around and ran away without caring about the remaining army of bones. You fool. The Yin Death Python was already a little crazy, chasing and cursing him. This time he chased for another day and night, but in the end he couldn't catch up with Qin Yi, so he had to return to the Yin Death Land with hatred. Running away after eating is so exciting. Qin Yi ran away from the Yin Death Land, and grinned. Ever since Qin Yi figured out the strength of the Yin Death Python, he gradually became abnormal. The Yin Death Python's territory, the Yin Death Land, will never have peace from now on. As soon as it got dark and he couldn't see his fingers, Qin Yi started to take action, got into the dark place and started eating. And Xiaobai played a huge role in this. Her scent always allows Qin Yi to easily avoid the Yin Death Python's pursuit. Xiaobai. Boss, the Yin Death Python is squatting on you to the west, please be careful. Qin Yi. Enter the Yin Death Land from the north. Rumble. The turtle shell rolled, taking advantage of the darkness of the night, to enter the Yin Death Land from the northern area. He moved very quickly and headed straight for the black plain in the middle of the Yin Death Land. As soon as he entered, he rolled into the deepest part of the plain and woke up the army of bones inside. When the dense and almost endless army of bones killed him, he then opened his mouth and sucked in, swallowing all the bones into his stomach. The evolution value once again experienced slow and orderly growth. It feels so good. It's so delicious. Qin Yi opened his eyes wide and grinned. This is much more delicious than those under the jurisdiction of Yin Shenmen. Those places are either full of flowers or grass, or there are pitifully few low-level and mid-level Yin objects. Even high-level femininity objects are rare there. If he wants to save evolution points, he can only supplement them with quantity. Regularly swallowing up hundreds of thousands or even millions of jurisdictions. Not to mention being tired from eating, the evolution points given are few. There is a tomb of 10,000 bones in the Yin Death Land, and countless bones are buried in it. Everyone is a middle-level person, and occasionally you will encounter high-level bones. I'm going to eat, 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 eat. Qin Yi showed off wildly and took a big mouthful of food. Although the group of bones in front of him is alive, he is big and his mouth is as big as a bloody mouth. No need to process it again. Open your mouth and swallow it alive. Qin Yi ate for about an hour. At this time, Xiao Bai suddenly said, "Boss, the Yin Death Python is coming from the west." Qin Yi immediately retracted into the turtle shell and activated the rolling skill. As soon as the turtle shell stood up, he spun around and ran towards the east. "You fool, if you dare, fight me head on." The Yin Death Python came, its fierce eyes were blood red, and it screamed angrily. His huge body swam on the ground like it covered the sky and the sun, and the surrounding mountains and ravines were crushed by the snake's body. "You are too weak. You don't deserve it." Qin Yi smiled coldly and proudly, and then ran faster. When Yin Death Python heard Qin Yi's words, he almost fainted. During these days, he had really had enough of this fool behavior. As soon as night came, I would go to his lair and eat. As soon as he showed up, this fool would run away immediately. Just run away, and even use rude words to provoke him. If he was really weak, this fool wouldn't run away when he saw him. This is clearly to mess with his mentality. Roar. The eyes of the Yin Death Python were about to burst. Seeing Qin Yi escape from the Yin Death Land, he slowed down, opened his mouth and spit out a black beam of light. The mouth of the beam is large, and compared with his snake body that can connect the sky and the earth, it is like light. But that's why it's so powerful. The black beam suddenly erupted and headed straight for Qin Yi. "I won't teach you a lesson a second time." Qin Yi was rolling in front. Suddenly, a strong sense of crisis emerged in his heart, and he realized that the Yin Death Python used the magical power of light beam again. He no longer chose to bear it forcefully like last time. Of course, it was the first time he encountered this kind of magical power last time, and he didn't respond in time. This time, as soon as a strong sense of crisis appeared in his heart, he initiated the forced steering. In an instant, the turtle shell, which was rolling forward in a straight line, began to move left and right, and the speed was not slow. Such dodging left and right also made it impossible for the magical beam of light emitted by the Yin Death Python to hit Qin Yi accurately. It can only penetrate the surrounding land and mountains. Qin Yi used this rolling method of moving left and right to easily leave the Yin Death Land from the east and get rid of the entanglement of the Yin Death Python. Until the next night, Qin Yi appeared again. "Boss, the scoundrel is still squatting on you in the west. Let's enter the land of death from the east." Under the cover of the dark night, Qin Yi rolled into the land of death from the east. Just like last night, he went straight to the Black Plain, leading the army of bones to devour him. Not a moment. "Boss, the scoundrel is here. Withdraw. Stop. ... The third night. "Boss, the scoundrel is squatting on you in the east. Enter from the west. There are so many bones. I'm going to eat, 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 eat." "No, boss, the scammer is here again. Withdraw. You don't deserve to die. You fool. What a fool." On the fourth and fifth days, every night, Qin Yi had to go to the dark place to finish his meal before running away. And the Yin Death Python's mentality is also up by him every day. Recently, the Yin Death Python has lost the strong sense of mystery and domineering momentum it once had. He started scolding Qin Yi almost as soon as he saw him, no matter how dirty he was. The Yin Death Python really has nothing to do with Qin Yi. The Yin Death Land is so huge that the Black Plain in the middle alone covers an area of 40,000 to 50,000 miles. It is simply unrealistic for Yin Death Python to defend Qin Yi alone. When he squatted in the west, Qin Yi invaded from the east. When he squatted on the east side, Qin Yi invaded from the west. Until the night of the seventh day, the Yin Death Python didn't go anywhere. He had crazy eyes and squatted on the Black Plain angrily. "You son of a fool, I'm just squatting on the Black Plain. If you dare to come, I'll kill you." The Yin Death Python has been tortured by Qin and is going a little crazy. He just speaks dirty words and no longer cares about his image. Now he hates Qin so much that he wishes he could devour Qin alive. Boss, the Yin Death Python is squatting on you in the Black Plain. Xiaobai issued a warning. She had the most scent left in the Black Plain, and she also knew the location of the Yin Death Python. Knowing that I want to eat white bones in the Black Plain, you squat there and wait for me. Qin was to the west of the Yin Death Land, looking up into the deepest part, and smiled coldly. HMPH. Just squat slowly, Qin said. With a body size of 210 meters, it is as big as a mountain. He looked at the collapsed mountains in front of him, the collapsed earth, and the flowers, plants and trees among them. He immediately raised his big foot and stomped it hard. Shock waves exploded from the soles of his feet and spread in all directions. Boom! The shock waves visible to the naked eye took on a wavy shape, seeming to distort space, shattering everything in all directions. The collapsed mountains were shattered, and the collapsed earth sank again, causing mud to fly. The flowers, plants and trees among them also burst into pieces. The range reached 20,000 meters centered on him, or 20 kilometers. As Qin realm becomes stronger, the power of his skills also continues to increase. Once, one kick could only send out shock waves within a kilometer range. Now it can send out shock waves with a range of 20 kilometers. Seeing that everything around him was destroyed, Qin opened his huge mouth and began to devour it. All he saw was countless pieces of soil, rocks, and broken flowers, plants, and trees, turning into dozens of tornadoes and pouring into his mouth. Evolution value, almost no change. But he didn't mind or care, he opened his mouth and swallowed it. Its purpose is to dismantle the Yin Death Python's territory. If you don't let me enter the Black Plain, I will invade your territory and see how long you can hold on. Qin sneered. Since being invested by the Underworld Order, he rarely does this. Because the world of the Underworld, including the mountains and the earth, etc., are all part of the order of the Underworld. If he eats too much, it will easily stimulate the order of the Underworld. In addition, he himself did not want to do this, mainly because it would easily attract strong men to kill him. After all, his behavior of eating randomly is similar to that of the Destroyer. It's okay to eat a little occasionally. Especially for the Yin Death Python. I'm going to eat, and I'll eat all of your nest. Qin had no scruples. Even if he could hardly gain any evolutionary value by devouring these mountains, rocks, earth and trees, he didn't mind. As long as he could torture the Yin Death Python and force it out, his goal would have been achieved. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.